The podium and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Zachary. And he smiled the entire time he was facing his students. I watched him. He was great. Okay, thank you for being here tonight. We have another exciting chapter planned. So since we have established our quorum and done the pledge, we will go into board officer elections. Our bylaws state that we have elections at the first meeting of September every year, and so I will entertain nominations for board chair. Ms. Froh.
I would like to nominate Anna Shepherd for board chair.
Second.
Okay. Do we vote with our iPads? Okay, so we need to vote.
I ran away from
Get in my seat.
I'm just kidding.
Was there any discussion while we're waiting for, okay. There it is. Give us some music.
Drum roll.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fogg, I appreciate that. And so then I'll entertain a motion for vice chair.
Motion to nominate Jill Spearing as vice chair.
Can I get a second? I'll second it. Okay, any discussion? Any other nominations? Okay, we'll vote on that one. Motion passes as well. Okay, so we will move into 30 seconds in my district. Ms. Bugs, would you like to start us out?
Sure. So I've received, or better yet, many of you know that I have student board interns that will be coming along with us beginning at the next board meeting. We received applications, and due to the weather, haven't gotten all of the information back from the committee that is helping me sift through them, but we will be making those recommendations to the rest of the board and introducing the interns to you all at the next board meeting. So I'm really, really excited. This was our first year bringing them back. Just excited to have students around the board table again. I would like to send a shout out to Pearl Cone High School. You'll hear more about the video that they created if you haven't yet regarding racism and everything that happened at in Charlottesville a few weeks ago. I would, of course, like to send a shout out to my baby sister, Brandy Buggs, who is an EL teacher now at Chadwell, as well as my good friend, J.C. Oden, who's come along as a member of our communications team. We love all of our newest members to MNPS, but these are two that I know and love and cannot wait to see them grow. I would like to acknowledge two members of my own church family. I'll read this, which was sent to me from Miriam Musum. On January 24th, 1961, Eldred Rainey captured a picture for the Tennessean of my maternal grandmother, Annie Pearl Curtis Driver, and one of her sons, Christopher Driver, being escorted by the school principal to Bordeaux Elementary School. She was among a group of plaintiffs in a federal lawsuit that ended segregation in Davidson County schools. As time moved forward, she went largely unrecognized for her fight for equal opportunities for her children and others like them. A few years ago, she gave an interview at the Nashville Public Library downtown for the archives. However, I wonder if there would be some way to honor her. Well, please stand, Mrs. Driver. We honor you tonight. We will be recognizing. Very proud to know you and to have you as a church a member, but we'll be hearing more about our commemoration of the desegregation of schools. Lastly, I want to send a thank you to my board members and to the principals of my schools for being so helpful over the past couple of months. I've been very under the weather. Didn't know what was going on, but I'm excited to announce that District 5 will be growing by one bouncing baby boy in February, as I'm expecting a son. So any good thoughts, prayers, anything you can send, great. If he's going to be anything like this first trimester has been, I know he'll be a sweet, darling, interesting child. But we will be restarting our community meetings in October at Pearl Cone. They have a big football game October 3rd, so I'll be sending out information about that also.
Ms. Pierce.
Thank you. I had the pleasure Friday night of participating in the coin toss at the Hillsborough High School football game. It was cluster night for our Hillsborough cluster with a great turnout of kids from the feeder schools. And I also want to highlight that the artwork along the wall here is from students at Percy Priest Elementary. Their art teacher, Tina Atkinson, will be honored later in our meeting as being named Tennessee Art Educator of the Year. So go check out the great work.
Sandra.
Yes, I would like to announce that the District 6 had two community meetings since our last school board meeting. One for the new elementary school on a tornado night that was packed. So I want to thank all of the parents and administration that came out on that day. And we also hosted a Southeast community meet and greet this past Saturday with a very good turnout as well. And I don't know, I guess I'll follow Christian's lead. District 6 is going to have a new bouncing baby boy in January. I'm going to be a grandmommy.
Two school board babies.
But save all your gifts for me. Yeah, I had to get mine in early.
Sorry.
I had the opportunity to attend Songwriters in the Round at for Dan Mills and Inglewood Elementary Schools. It was held at the historic Riverwood Mansion. And I see our principal and vice principal. Would you guys stand up for just a second? From Dan Mills. And is the Inglewood principal here tonight? Okay. Well, it was a wonderful event. Thank you guys for being here. It was a wonderful event, and all of the proceeds will go for the literacy program at Dan Mills and Inglewood. Thank you.
Thank you. Earlier today at Coleman Park Community Center in the heart of District 7, off Nolensville Road and Thompson Lane, there was a summit of volunteers for the Glencliff cluster. And we're fortunate in South Nashville to have a very rich and robust base of volunteerism to support the work that goes on in the school. And it's going to kick off, really a year worth of conversations about how to better serve the school system by drawing on our volunteers and organizing and coordinating them. So thank you to Jill Wattrell at Pencil and all the other people who are involved in those efforts. It means a lot. Thanks.
Ms. Grove.
Students in the Hillwood cluster are taking on the challenging task this semester of performing Shakespeare. And we have 2 schools that will be involved. Big Picture High School and Hillwood students were cast in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. And so we look forward to seeing that performance later this year.
Dr. Brannon.
Yes, I'd just like to congratulate the Cambridge program at Overton. The CEO visited there last week and gave them credit for being scores in the top tier nationally, and some scores on Cambridge are internationally the top scores. So we congratulate the Cambridge program at Overton. Also, I'd like to thank Carly Fink, a student at Overton, for beginning a relief fund and drive for the Harvey victims. She is moving along and reports that it is moving smoothly. She reached out to several of us and asked how Overton could help. So thank you.
And as we lead into our next agenda item, I think this announcement kind of tees it off really well. At John Early Middle School on September the 22nd at 10 o'clock a.m., as you may or may not know, John Early is a museum magnet prep school, a prep middle school, and they will be kicking off their first 2017-2018 exhibit for that school year in an exhibit entitled A Matter of Black and White, the 60th anniversary of the desegregation of schools in Nashville, Tennessee. So again, the public is invited. It's invited. We encourage all parents that have kids there to please be in attendance. Again, that's September 22nd at 10 o'clock a.m.
And I have one. I just want to recognize again Sam Kalios from Ruby Major Elementary School. He was the Tennessean Teacher of the Week, of the month for August, and he is a phenomenal music teacher. I've attended many of his shows that he has at Ruby Major, and he gets those kids to do things that I can't imagine an elementary school students being able to do, but he does a really good job with them. So I just want to recognize him again because he is such a great teacher. So we have changed our agenda just a tad because we now aligned our strategic plan to our agenda items. So as we move into awards and recognitions, you'll see that it's entitled Our People. So the first on the agenda is the commemoration of the 60th anniversary of school desegregation. Mr. Pinkston?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. There's been a couple of really excellent media reports the last few days in the Tennessean and the Nashville scene commemorating the 60th anniversary of desegregation. And I think that, sometimes in public service, we forget that we're really, ultimately, in the day-to-day twists and turns, we're ultimately really travelers through history, and this institution has been here for a long time before we got here and will be around for a long time after we're gone. And Dr. Gentry and I were talking about, who best to help us lead a commemoration, and we could think of no better person than David Ewing, who is a friend of the city, a noted historian, and a ninth-generation Nashvilleian, and our passion for public education and service to kids. So, David, from the podium, will you lead us in a commemoration of this important event?
Thank you, and it's an honor to be here, Madam Chair. Let me be the first to congratulate you on your reelection, members of the school board, Dr. Joseph, for this great invitation to commemorate the 60th anniversary of desegregation of our public schools. And one of the reasons that you all are elected is because of segregation of schools. After busing happened and your predecessors decided to merge some schools and close some schools, there was an outcry of a lot of this community that who elected you all to close my kid's school? And so that is why we went from having an appointed school board by the mayor to an elected school board. So that is why you have to campaign and raise money and knock on doors, but it's all kind of tied together of what we are here today. And the Whites Creek musical band that was here earlier, it's just inspiring, and I'm glad that we live in a city with creativity. School board members, you might not know, we actually have a school that is named after a music director, a longtime music director of over 40 years in this city, Professor Bailey of East Nashville. The Bailey Middle School is named after him, and he was passionate about music going back even to the 19th century and taught lots of school children. But today we are here to talk about the heroic actions of young people and their parents to do the basic that we all try to do, is educate our children and make this a better place. So as I'm talking, you will see images from 1957, the year of school desegregation. Many are painful, many are offensive, but they are appropriate to see today, 60 years later, to reflect back on what happened. And a short, brief timeline of what happened. May 17th, 1954 was a very famous United States Supreme Court Brown versus Board of Education, which was really the shot heard around the world that impacted every school district in America as far as who was enrolled, and particularly those of us in the South. On September 23rd, 1955, a year or so after Brown, a federal desegregation lawsuit was filed here in Nashville by civil rights attorneys Z. Alexander Luby and Avon Williams, with the lead plaintiff, a barber and a parent named A.Z. Kelly. We have to wonder, why did they file the lawsuit? Because we kind of forgot that the Supreme Court had ruled on Brown and nothing had happened, literally. There was still segregation in our public school system. And that gets us back to our 60th anniversary. On September 9th, 1957, was the beginning of integration in Nashville and the courage demonstrated by the Nashville 16 first grade children who bravely were on the front line of this struggle. And not only the pictures that you see up here of the first day walking gauntlets going into a new foreign environment, but the whole year and the whole rest of their career. We all, as parents, you know, we have kids that struggle in school or have issues with schools, but can you imagine having to deal with this just for the most basic right to get an education? A day after that historic September 9th day, on September 10th, there was a bombing of Hattie Cotton School and the subsequent indictment of white segregationist John Casper for inciting violence. So here, one African-American student had enrolled in Hattie Cotton School, and at midnight, someone placed a bomb that went off and destroyed the front part of the school. Had it happened during school hours, this would have been in history books like the Birmingham church bombing. We are fortunate in Nashville it wasn't. On June 28, 1962, was another historic day in Nashville when we merged our city and county government and had metropolitan government, which has also merged the county and city school system. And in September 1971 was the beginning of court-ordered busing, 17 years after Brown. So we finally have court-ordered busing. And then in 1998, we got out from under our 43-year-old desegregation lawsuit with the achievement of unitary status in the eyes of the court in a settlement signed by our then mayor of Nashville, Phil Bredesen. And today, September 12, 2017, Metro Nashville Public Schools is one of the most beautifully diverse systems in America. We should all be proud of that. It makes our city better. It attracts new people. And those who went to some of these schools are now proud of the progress that you make. And this is where it happens. I know you dedicate a lot of your time to these issues. Sometimes it's bricks and mortar, sometimes it's teachers and principals, but at the end of the day, the largest budgetary item of our Metro budget, as you know, is what we are about in improving our city, and I'm very proud of the work that you all have done. To commemorate the 60th anniversary of desegregation in Nashville, I'm here to deliver 3 messages to the school board and our first African-American superintendent of a school. So that also is another great benchmark when we think about these pictures that we saw just 60 years ago. First, you are leaders in a very special institution, and our city appreciates your service to 86,000 students, which is more than fit in our Titan Stadium. Second, we appreciate your commitment to preserving the history of this very special institution. And third, we appreciate your commitment to ensuring diversity now and in the future. To be clear, much work remains to ensure equity in our public schools, but we've come a long way thanks to you and your predecessors. Now, to further commemorate this journey, I would like to read aloud the names of the very brave 16 children who integrated Nashville Public Schools on September 9th, 1957. Errol Groves, Ethel May Carr, Patricia Guthrie, Barbara Jean Watson, Marvin Moore, Charles Edward Battle, Cecil Ray Jr., Charles Elbert Riley, Willis Edgar Lewis Jr., Linda McKinney, Rita Buchanan, Jacqueline Griffin, LaQuanda Street, Sinclair Lee Jr., Joy Smith, and Patricia Watson. And I think I would like to close by reading a very touching but relevant poem from Maya Angelou. And it's nice that a school board member actually has this copy of the book. Thank you, Will. And the poem is called Life Doesn't Frighten Me. Shadows on the wall, noises down the hall. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Bad dogs barking loud, big ghost in the cloud. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Mean old Mother Goose, lions on the loose. They don't frighten me at all. Dragons breathing flame on my counterpane. That does not frighten me at all. I go boo, make them shoo. I make fun, way they run. I won't cry, so they fly. I just smile, they go wild. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Tough guys in a fight, all alone at night. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Panthers in the park, strangers in the dark. No, they don't frighten me at all. The new classroom wear, boys all pull my hair. Kissy little girls with their hair in curls. They don't frighten me at all. Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen for my scream. If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams. I've got a magic charm that I keep up my sleeve. I can walk the ocean floor and never have to breathe. Life does not frighten me at all. Not at all, not at all. Life does not frighten me at all. And we are here, like I said, to honor the 16 first graders that stood up to a system that wasn't just at the time. And a lot of us give credit, rightfully so, to the students that sat in at the lunch counters in the 60s. But before John Lewis and Diane Nash and all the other heroic students came here, college students, we had the Nashville 16. And we need to honor their legacy. Many of them are still living. Many of them are still here in Nashville. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to recognize this important milestone in the city's history and education history. And once again, thank you for your service. It is appreciated, and it makes a difference every day in our city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ewing, as he's walking out the door. And I would like to,
That's David.
he made a very salient point at the very end. I think we need to keep those 16 children front and center. I think we don't need to have him do this presentation and then we forget about that. So I would like to charge Dr. Gentry and Mr. Pinkston to come up with something that we can commemorate those 16 students with. I mean, I can't imagine being that brave as a first grader.
I'd like to go just a step further and say that we need to keep those 16 students front and center every day in the discussions that we have here. I mean, it's their desires and their intents and their hopes and their dreams that we're charged with bringing to reality every day, with the policies that we set, the budgetary decisions that we make, the hiring that we've already done. And so our only responsibility right now is to continue to support the efforts that we have put in place, that we've been allowed to put in place, as Mr. Ewing pointed out, by being elected to sit here at this table. That our only responsibility is to make decisions that are for the best interest of children at all times, regardless of what faces us a couple of months from now at a voting poll, or what faces us a couple of hours from now when we check our emails. But to just remember that the only charge we have is to continue to allow, because we have those same 16 kids in our schools today. Those same kids that are frightened, those same kids that have dreams, and they're trying to get an education because they want to have a better life. And we have the power to either make that happen or to be in the way. And so I think we're all here to make sure we make that happen.
Thank you, Dr. Gentry. Moving
You can
on.
clap. Who is it? I'll take it.
I would say I would be remiss not to comment before we moved on. It was Thurgood Marshall, as you know, Supreme Court Justice and instrumental in the fight for justice for children in America, once said that, I wish racism and prejudice were only distant memories. We must dissent from indifference. We must dissent from apathy. We must dissent from the fear, the hatred, the mistrust. We must dissent because America can do better, and because America has no choice but to do better. And, we have come a long way in 60 years. Lord knows I wouldn't be sitting here 60 years ago, and this board wouldn't be sitting here as diverse as we are, with females on our board and the diverse African Americans on our board. That just would not have happened 60 years ago. And we are a better Nashville now than we were 60 years ago. And we're we are a highly diverse school district. As of the 20th day of this school year, we welcomed 86,152 students in our doors. 42% of those students are African American, 29% of those students are Caucasian, 25% of those students are Hispanic, and 4% of those students are Asian. During the 2015-2016 school year, we had 54% of our 86,000 students were educated in a building that we defined as being diverse. And we talk about diversity in not only race, but we look at language, we look at socioeconomics in terms of our definition in our special education populations, which means that 46% of our students are in schools that we would not define as diverse. And that's, according to Ansley Erickson, and again, I thank Mr. Pinkston for giving me the book, The Making of the Unequal Metropolis, School Desegregation and the Limits, A History of Nashville Schools. She talks about in her book 72% of Latino students and 64% of African American students in Nashville attend high poverty schools versus 34% of Caucasian students within our district. So that just acknowledges that racial inequities still exist within our school district and throughout America. And we have much work to do in the Metro Nashville public schools as it relates to raising academic achievement for all students, increasing gifted and talented and advanced course participation for all students, and we're going to hear a little more about that this evening, and in reducing the number of students who are expelled or suspended each year, with a particular emphasis on focusing on the disparities that we see among racial demographics within our district, because they're pretty significant. To this board's credit, all of these areas are aggressively addressed in our strategic plan that you approved, and it's the work that we know we need to do to make sure that all children in Metro Nashville public schools, regardless of their race, their ethnicity, or how much money they have, they should receive a quality education. So together in the coming years, we have an opportunity to provide leadership in the school district by finding innovative ways to continue to increase opportunities for students to study in diverse student learning environments. The Century Foundation, which is a progressive, nonpartisan think tank that seeks to foster opportunity, reduce inequity, and promote security home and abroad, identified the benefits of having diverse schools to include increasing test scores, increasing college enrollment rates among students, decreasing dropout rates, reducing racial achievement gaps, and reducing racial bias, including encouraging cross-cultural relationships and preparing students to succeed in a global economy. And recently we benefited, we've seen the benefits of our diverse schools with some of our students here and their reaction to the Charlottesville, Virginia incident. And I think that was referenced by Board Member Buggs, that we had a talented, diverse collection of students from a number of metro schools who got together under the leadership of Cedric Caldwell, who's a music teacher at Pearl Cone, and the sponsor of the Relentless Records studio. And they recorded this amazing video on a song of healing. The song was entitled "We Need One Another Right Now." And the song was written by Grammy Award-winning artist BB Winans. And our students will be traveling to Charlottesville this week on the invitation of the City Council and the Mayor to sing it live in Charlottesville with students in Charlottesville. So I thought it'd be great for us today on this commemoration to just take a moment to hear our fabulous students and the song that they put together that shows the power of connecting across racial differences.
We just need to stop all this stuff and just forgive each other. Just stop, just love one another.
No difference where you come from, 'cause I believe that who you are is not where you're born.
We're alike in so many ways.
Oh yes we are.
Can't you see we're all just the same?
That's why we need one another. You and I come together.
We need one another right now.
We need one another. Take my hand, come whatever.
We need one another
right now.
Yeah. Tell me what you know.
Now who am I to sit here and judge when what I know?
Tell 'em, Big E.
Everything God made is beautiful.
Celebrate the people we are. And I'll be there whenever, near or far.
That's why we need one another. You and I come together. We need one another right now. We need one another. Take my hand, come whatever. We need one another right now. Don't take me for granted. Say what you need to say. Don't let time slip away. Oh Lord, we need one another. You and I come together. We need one another right now.
We need one another. Take my hand, come whatever. We need one another right now. We need
one another. You and I come together. We need one another.
Thomas, if you get the next three.
Okay, so tonight we're going to recognize two fourth graders, Tucker Carter and Zion Anderson from Dan Mills Elementary School. Both boys are quite amazing. Both are brought to our attention by Principal Robbie Yates. We learned that one of our fourth grade students, Zion, had a severe nut allergy and was seated on August 10th at a special peanut-free table. He was able to select a friend to join him for lunch on that day, and as they began eating, Zion ate a blueberry snack bar that was in his lunchbox. And a few minutes later, Zion's friend, Tuck, recognized that his friend was starting to act very strangely. Tuck quickly grabbed the snack pack, read the ingredients, and realized that the bar contained juice. He quickly alerted Zion to get help immediately, and staff was alerted, and they acted quickly. He was given an EpiPen shot and subsequently had another reaction at the hospital that night, where he was kept for further observation. We're very proud of Tuck and his friendship with Zion, and we're glad to have them both here tonight. So can we give them a round of applause? And I think we have something for Tuck here. Tuck, you can come on up. I can give you a certificate.
With the allergy? Okay.
Is that Zion on the video? Say something. Hey, Zion. Wave.
Oh, hey,
Oh, sweet baby.
Okay, next I have the honor of presenting Tina Atkinson of Percy Priest Elementary School, and she has been recognized as the Tennessee Art Educator of the Year by the Tennessee Art Association. Applause. Read a little bit about her. So, Tina has been an elementary visual arts teacher in the Metro Nashville Public Schools for more than 20 years. At Percy Priest Elementary School, she's developed an innovative and highly successful arts program engaging students, parents, and the community. In describing her teaching, Ms. Atkinson says, "I don't just teach my students how to create, I teach them how to think, ask questions, take risks, and explore new things. My students don't just think outside of the box, they refuse to get in the box in the first place." Amen to that.
Yes.
She has served on the teacher advisory panels for both the Cheekwood and the Parthenon Museum, acted as a reviewer for the Frisch Center for the Visual Arts, and as a juror for the East Tennessee Student Art Show. She has had articles published in the Volunteer Canvas, Americas for the Arts blog, and the School Arts magazine, and teaches art education courses as an adjunct professor at Belmont University. She is a two-term board member of the Tennessee Art Association, Tennessee Art Education Association, was named Tennessee Art Education Association's Middle Region Art Educator of the Year in 2009, Elementary Division of Art Education of the Year Award in 2012, and she's now been awarded the distinguished honor of the 2018 State Art Education of the Year for the entire state of Tennessee. Good Lord of mercy. One more time. So we'll come up and thank you.
How about that? Look at him. Do that or go get elected.
Next, we are acknowledging Ted Edinger of Tulip Grove Elementary, and he's been recognized as a Middle Tennessee Art Teacher of the Year by the Tennessee Art Education Association. A little about Ted. So Ted, known as Mr. E for the past 21 years, realized he was going to be a teacher in the first grade. He began his career in art education in 1997 as part of the mass hiring that placed at least one art teacher in every elementary school in Nashville. He has taught for the past 17 years at Tulip Grove Elementary. He has served as a cooperating teacher for many area universities, and most of his 12 student teachers now teach in MNPS or surrounding districts. Ted is also nationally known for his popular art education blog, Art with Mr. E, and he has been a featured Super Session presenter at the Wisconsin Art Education Association State Conference in October. Ted has served on numerous state committees, led countless professional development at both state and national art education conferences, and served as an elementary representative on the Tennessee Art Education Association board for a number of years. Ted has previously been honored as the Tennessee Elementary Art Teacher of the Year, and this was awarded, and this year was awarded Middle Tennessee Art Educator of the Year. So again, Ted, thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Joseph for his continued support of the visual arts. I'm Allison Ross, the new visual arts coordinator for Metro. And I want to say how proud I am of Tina and Ted for sweeping half of the awards in this state. So that tells you kind of the condition of where the visual arts stands in this district. We have a very rich history. I don't even want to guess how many thousands of children they inspire every day. But we continue every day to plod on, and we thank you, Tina and Ted.
So moving on to our community, I would like to acknowledge Deloitte, and I would like to have John George come to the front, please, to the podium. So Deloitte is incredibly involved in our schools, and I don't know if many people know this, but they partner with Overton, Antioch, and McGavock High School. They're physically located in the McGavock cluster, so that's why they partner with us, and we are so ever so grateful for everything that Deloitte does for our schools. And I don't have the laundry list in front of me of everything that they do, but I know they do FAFSA night. They're involved, Deloitte is involved with Junior Achievement. John, if you want to enlighten us on the rest of the resume.
Well, like a lot of Academy partners, we're busy in the high schools, working with Joe Shadow Days and field trips. We also work with Warner Elementary. It's our elementary partner we've been with for 22 years. And then we also have friends that we call, we aren't actual partners, but at Glencliff and Hunters Lane, where we do STEM work. And our latest effort, which I think you're pointing out, was our work with the Eclipse. We partnered with McGavock High School to provide Eclipse classes for the 10,000 students in the cluster, and provide 500 educational packets to all the teachers so that they could do lessons on the Eclipse and prepare the students for the big day.
And John and I had fun delivering some of those packets to those high schools. We wore all those glasses. You have to stand where you want to stand for those pictures, because you cannot see anything after you put those glasses on. So we'd like to present you with a plaque, John.
There's some volunteers in the back. You guys would like to stand and be recognized?
And I think that Ms. Pierce and Dr. Gentry are going to give a little history on the artwork and the no application? Okay.
I
All right.
got you talking about the whites? Yeah, I have that one. Okay. So earlier, if you can, this goes back to our performance earlier. So we heard from the Whites Creek World Percussion Ensemble from Whites Creek High School, where Dr. James Bailey is principal. The ensemble is under the direction of Zachary Himmelho. They actually have it pronounced out here phonetically for me. We'll start over. Under the direction of Zachary Himmelho. Mr. Himmelho moved to Nashville from Chicago and teaches world percussion at Haynes Middle School and Whites Creek High School. While sharing his passion for music, as Ms. Shepard pointed out, he smiled the entire time. While sharing his passion for music with students and teachers, Zachary continues to maintain an active performance schedule and has worked with artists such as Chance the Rapper. The students you heard tonight, and are probably still hearing in your head somewhere, are in their second year of study. In their world percussion classes, students learn about and perform a wide variety of percussion styles from around the world, including Africa, Brazil, and the Caribbean. The world percussion classes are part of the contemporary curriculum of music classes supported by Music Makes Us, the public-private partnership for music education in Metro Nashville Public Schools. We're very proud of these students and their awesome teachers. So in their absence, another round of applause, please.
Thank you, Dr. Gentry. Moving on to, and the good news is we have students from Hillwood High School, Academy students here. If you would like to come make your way to the front of the podium and share your stories with us, we'd love it.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having us here. My name is Brittany Tran, and I am part of the Art, Design, and Communications Academy at Hillwood. I am currently a senior, and my pathway is visual arts. Through my academy, I've gotten a lot of experience within the art field. I was able to experience just different parts of the art world. I've gone on many field trips and job shadows. Like, for one example, I went to the Country Music Hall of Fame. I was able to tour the Country Music Hall of Fame, watching or looking and seeing all the artwork, and then they had show print there. I was able to job shadow them and see the art making process that they do there. And with that, I was also able to work with an artist named John Langford. He talked about his inspiration for art. He played some music, and he showed us how he creates his artwork. And my art teacher was able to allow us to create one of his art pieces in our own style, but we still had to apply his artistic style with it. It was a challenge, but I really enjoyed it. And aside from being involved in my academy, I'm also involved in a lot of AP classes. This year, I'm taking 5 AP classes, and by the time I graduate, I would have taken a total of 16 AP classes. Although it's kind of hard, it's been fun because my teachers have made it fun, and I've been able to learn a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. That's impressive.
Hello, I'm Destiny Dismore, and I am also from Hillwood, and I'm a senior in the Business and Hospitality Academy. My pathway is business leadership, and through that pathway, I'm able to learn how to run a business, understand the ins and outs, and how to be the best entrepreneur there is. Through my accounting class last year, we went on multiple business trips that were offered. My first one I went on was a business conference where I met people from Deloitte who taught me the importance of creating a business profile through LinkedIn and understanding the importance of creating connections in my community. My second opportunity I went on was a job shadow at Vanderbilt Holiday Inn. I shadowed the different employees that worked there, and I learned how each one of those people offered and impacted the brand of the Holiday Inn. I met the HR department, the owner, the business people, and every one of them taught me how I need to stand out and make a difference in my community and in my business model. Of course, when I'm not doing a business academy classes and all that, I do take 4 AP classes this year, and when I graduate, I would have taken a total of 7. And after high school, I plan to do criminology, and through taking AP classes and this business opportunity, I learned how to impact my life and other people's lives and the opportunity offered. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Zaid Hatem. I am also a senior at Hillwood High School, and I'm in the Health Science Academy. Our academy really strives to make and develop healthcare professionals. And throughout the past years, I've gotten into a lot of opportunities, including a lot of AP courses and a lot of courses that related to the health science. Our courses include Health Science Ed, that's a basic course that we got in, and then we move into our pathways, diagnostic or therapeutic. I've joined the diagnostic medicine pathway, and then I've also gotten into a lot of dual enrollment courses through that pathway, and I've joined. I've also job shadowed a lot through my thing I want to do in the future is dentistry, and I've job shadowed the dentistry office, and I've really enjoyed it. Also, aside from classroom setting, I've joined HOSA, which is Healthcare Occupation Students of America, and I've also been able to compete in the dentistry competition. Also, like I said again, I've taken AP courses, and I've taken 5 in the past 3 years, and I'm also taking 5 this year, so a total of 10 when I graduate. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I get the students to come up and have a picture opportunity with Ms. Frog and Dr. Joseph, please? Thank you. And under our community, we have 2 very strong community partners here tonight to share a little bit of what they do in our community. We have Angie Adams with the Pencil Foundation, and we also have Melissa Jaggers with Alignment Nashville. So if I could get Ms. Adams to come to the podium first and share what Pencil does with us.
Thank you for welcoming me here tonight. And you do have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm sorry, go ahead. So I provided all of you with paper copies. We'll just want to walk through this. I don't know if anybody realizes that Pencil actually is an acronym. Public Education Needs Community Involvement and Leadership. Whoops, sorry. There we go. And our mission is linking community resources with Nashville Public Schools to help young people achieve academic success and prepare for life. Core values, our work is guided by the needs of MMPS, student-centric, and achieved through partnerships and tangible engagements. And certainly hearing from those academy students is a perfect example of some of our partnership work. We were established in 1982, so this is entering into our 36th year of serving the district. And if you don't mind, I know there are several Pencil board members and staff members here. If they would stand or raise their hand. Pencil in 1982 was created as a partnership between the public school system and business leaders in the community. Now you'll see some of the major corporations who are still involved with Pencil today were a part of our founding group. And it's interesting to me that 36 years later, our founding goals are exactly true for us, creating a vital link between the private sector and public education, increasing understanding of and appreciation for the public school system, promoting community involvement in student learning, and securing a strong commitment from business leaders to help provide materials and resources necessary for schools to meet the needs of their students. And I can honestly say that when we're recruiting partners today, It is so rare we get a no. The community, especially the business community, is overwhelmingly supportive of Metro Nashville Public Schools. So we're able to provide well over $4 million of return to the district each year through partnerships at all tier levels and through all schools. We serve both charter and traditional schools, and at all tier levels, including pre-K. So a few examples of the companies we partner with: Creative Artist Agency at Whitsett Elementary. That is a 20-plus year partnership. They are partners in the Reading Clinic. They partner with the First Day Celebration, Teacher Appreciation, and Field Days. St. Thomas Health Scholars. They are partners with all 9 health services academies, and they have a dedicated full-time nursing staff member who mentors students and helps prepare them for the CTE completion. Gaylord Opryland is partnered with McGavick High School, Donaldson, Two Rivers, DuPont Hadley, DuPont Tyler, Middle Preps. They do everything from host teacher externships. They actually allow their chefs to go into the school and serve as culinary teachers. They provide internship and job shadow opportunities, as well as doing some amazing leadership training with some of our middle schools. Stanzel Electric is a partner with Maplewood Academy of Energy and Power. Likewise, they're providing mentorships, CTE training, internships, and job shadowing. And just recently, they are in the final phases of completing installation of an outdoor training center at Maplewood in partnership with NES to do training with students who were in the Energy and Power Academy on site using real-world tools. So again, our community investment is well over $4.1 million, and we do know that based on us not having a great technology system in place for several years, we are capturing, sort of scratching the surface of what's going on. So we're in the process of implementing a web-based app to allow volunteers and partners to actually track their volunteerism in a much deeper way. So we have 395 active partners. Like Deloitte, Gaylord, and other partners, many have multiple partnerships with multiple schools. So you can see the huge impact that we're having within our academies at the high school level. Middle Press, we're excited for the middle school STEAM implementation and think that will mirror a lot of the academy work that we've done and allow for greater connection with our middle schools and business partners. Also along those lines, now that the district is supporting students taking certification exams, we in the past have had recruited mentors to help those students prepare for a portion of those exams, but are now focusing much more heavily on recruiting mentors to aid those students who will be taking exams, specifically in technology and healthcare, which is where the pass rates aren't as high, and giving them job shadowing and mentoring opportunities. 77% of sophomores completed field trips. 65% of juniors completed job shadows last academic year with Pencil Partners. You have a quote here from a student at Hunters Lane who talks about the impact of that work, and certainly hearing from the Hillwood students plays right along with this. Many people know us only for our LP Pencil Box, which is our free teacher supply store. Last year, we served over 2,500 teachers in the district. All teachers in the district are eligible to come to the store and shop for free once each semester. We distributed almost $730,000 worth of supplies last year, which is well over 300,000 pencils, almost 54,000 pens, 50,000 folders, and 67,000 glue sticks. Although I will say copy paper and hand sanitizer are always hot commodities. Pencil runs 6 family resource centers that are school-based, everything from the Ivanetta Davis Early Learning Center to several high schools. We partner more with nonprofit partners for those family resource centers to provide basic support for students and their families, emergency food boxes when schools closed, standard school attire, everything that helps those families and students stay in school. We served 721 students through our Reading Clinic partnership, and we have many partners who partner with those reading clinics. And again, much like the academies and the Academy Coach, it's a wonderful way to link partners to the schools when they are reading clinic coordinators. So in 2016-17, we added 2 reading clinic coordinators at Buena Vista Elementary and Churchwell Elementary that one of our funders specifically funded to allow our business partners to have continuity with staffing and support at those clinics. So we always determine our areas of support based on what the district's priorities are. So our areas of support for 2017, 2018, and our goals are to hit $4.4 million in community investment, to recruit 700 more reading clinic volunteers, and to have 500 partners engaged, which means 100 new partners. We are focusing on making sure that all of the new middle school STEAM schools coming online will have at least 2 partners to help them bring the STEAM curriculum to life. We'll continue focusing on reading clinic partnerships and academy partnerships, and continue to focus very much so on the certification mentors so that students have the resources they need to pass those certification exams. We also host Principal for a Day, and that's an incredible opportunity to get community members in the school to shadow a principal and learn what it actually is like to be in the school. And that really helps change the conversation about public education in Nashville. Deloitte is a wonderful partner, as you heard earlier, and they host our annual Partnership Summit in the summer, when partners can actually come together and learn from one another and share best practices. This year, based on requests from many of our potential partners and our board members, we'll be hosting quarterly events in schools throughout the district, working with the community superintendents to make sure we're highlighting schools where there is need for new partners and highlighting great things going on in those schools. Some of our key investors I just wanted to put in front of you. We do have a broad range of support. What we typically find is that once someone partners with the school, they invest financially. So I think it's a wonderful testament to our community that not only do they invest with their money, but they invest with their time. Our revenue is a broad mix. Those corporate and foundation partners not only support us with direct funding, but they're also the primary funders of our special events. So that funding stream is about 50% of our overall revenue. United Way is a tremendous supporter, and we do certainly appreciate the investment from the district to support our overall partnership work as well as our 6 family resource centers. Expenses, it's all about people and relationships. So we're spending well over 80% of our money on partnership management, partnership recruiting, and those family resource center coordinators. We have an extensive board of directors believing that it's important to have representation from all aspects of our community. They are a very active group. They have lots of thoughts and dreams and opinions. Dr. Joseph has been a part of our board, as has Ms. Shepard, so it's a great group to help guide us and keep us on track. pencilforschools.org, if anyone would like to interact with us, and I'll certainly be happy to answer any questions if there are any. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Angie. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you.
Well, I have one.
Do we do a clap? Sorry.
Ms. Bucks?
Bish Bosh, I can send the email. Yeah.
And next, we have Melissa Jaggers with Alignment Nashville.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share just a little bit about Alignment Nashville and our work to support our Nashville Public Schools. My name is Melissa Jaggers. I'm the president and CEO of Alignment. And first, just want to say thank you for your support for Alignment, financially and otherwise. And also thank you to Dr. Joseph and his team. I think they have they very, very deeply value community partnerships. I felt that. Sorry about that. They very deeply value community partnerships, and it shows. That is a crucial element of making what we do work, because we're not better together if we're not all in being better together. Thank you. Right. So our mission, it really is founded on a core belief that, stated simply, we're better together. We've got big issues facing our students that the schools cannot be expected to solve alone. that the community, single organizations can't be expected to solve those on their own, and that really we do have to work together. And it has to be in an ongoing, consistent basis. And that was one of the founding beliefs of our founders. We were actually incubated by the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce, and then spun off as a separate 501 not-for-profit organization. One of the most important decisions when we were founded was that we were not created to bring an agenda to the schools, but we were founded to help the schools accomplish their strategic plan. And that really is probably the most important tenet of our work, that we do focus on how we're going to help you accomplish the things that you know you need to do. A lot of times we think of it kind of like planting a seed. If you think about, you can have a perfectly healthy seed, but if that seed's dropped into rocky soil or soil that's not fertile, or if it doesn't have the right conditions and the right water and light, then the seed's not going to grow. So a lot of the role that we play at Alignment Nashville is making sure that the soil is ready, that when we do plant those school community collaborations, that they have what they need to grow and to thrive. So just a few examples of successful initiatives that we've supported. We hear a lot about the Academies of Nashville, and we're very proud to have played a role in helping to jumpstart that work. And one of the first things that we did was to bring together schools and communities to create the vision for what the academies could be in our community. And that vision was really what created the blueprint for a federal grant proposal that was, if you didn't know this, it was the largest grant funded that year from the Department of Education. It was about $6.65 million. But I think what's even more interesting about that is not only was it the largest that year, but from what we understand, it is one of the few, if not the only, district-wide initiatives that are still standing. So there were a lot of communities that got funding to do this work, and Nashville's one of the few that has made it last for 10 years, and as you've heard tonight, still going strong. So why? What was different about Nashville? We believe that it was the deep community buy-in. This wasn't something that the schools brought to the community or that the community brought to the schools. It really was a joint effort. We had partners like Pencil that came alongside and said, we're here to align what we do to support that work. And of course, as we all know, graduation rates and other things like attendance rates, discipline have all improved thanks to the academies. Another example is Parent University. Again, a great example of aligning local resources that provided no-cost education and services for parents and caregivers of Metro Nashville Public School students. This is something that was started through Alignment and has been handed off very successfully to Metro Nashville Public Schools, which you all run very successfully to support parents. And then finally, the Social Emotional Learning Conference. So since 2011, our Behavioral Health Alignment team has aligned local resources, again, to provide nearly $1 million worth of no-cost professional development for MNPS educators, administrators, and community partners. This event is, it's a lot more than a conference. It really is a cornerstone for the district's efforts to integrate social emotional learning into the classroom. And as well as bringing a national spotlight to MNPS for your work in social emotional learning. Now, in all three of these initiatives, Alignment's roles, we've played lots of different roles, worn lots of hats. A lot of times we bring those partners together. We oftentimes find new partners or find new ways that partners can collaborate with the schools. As you heard, we provide grant development support, so bringing in new funding to support work in Nashville, and then a lot of project management support, making things happen. So those were all, those were initiatives that have come to fruition. But where our A teams always start, our alignment teams always start with pilots. We see if something works, see what works about it, and then scale it up. Great example of a promising pilot that's happening right now. It's called PACT, Partners in ACT Prep. And this came out of our high school alignment team, which I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But this has been a wonderful pilot that we've seen great results in 4 of our high schools. And as we know, there's a huge financial potential impact for helping students increase their ACT scores. They're eligible for more scholarships. We're hopefully reducing the time that they have to spend in remedial courses once they get to college. So a huge financial impact. Saw really good results in those 4 schools that we piloted with no new resources. Again, this was all alignment of existing resources. And right now, our high school alignment team, which is co-chaired by Dr. Adrian Battle and Angie Adams from Pencil, are now working on a plan to scale that pilot to serve additional high schools. One more example of a promising pilot that we'd like to highlight is LEAF. LEAF stands for Linking, Empowering, and Advancing Families. And it's another pilot that has leveraged existing resources to provide high-quality literacy and other services to non-English language background families in MNPS. Again, as you can see on the slide, I know that's, those are tiny numbers, but I can tell you that we saw promising results in academic, social, emotional, family engagement outcomes. And so as a result, we're working on a plan to scale that effort. One thing that was really interesting was the amount of interest and demand for this programming in our community. We held the pilot in the Glencliff cluster, but we had families from 9 of the 12 clusters that attended. And then once again, when we kicked it off again this year, registration far exceeded our expectations. So lots of good things happening there that we're trying to scale up. Leadership there from Dr. Maritza Gonzalez and Samantha Perez from Metro Human Relations Commission. So I mentioned finding new partners. We like to call them unlikely allies. If we keep doing the same things that we've always done, we're not going to change anything. So we like to try to find some of these unlikely allies. You may not know, but the Elephant Sanctuary is a partnership that we're able to facilitate with Jerry Baxter Middle School. The Elephant Sanctuary is a couple hours away. It's not a place you can visit because the elephants are protected and they are in a true sanctuary. But the partnership that was facilitated actually developed a distance learning, social emotional learning curriculum that was delivered at Jerry Baxter and has been used in other places. So a very non-traditional, outside the box, great new partner. And we've seen things like that with partners like Urban Green Lab, who have done some work in school nutrition, which is a likely area, but then also branched over into social emotional learning. And Marathon Petroleum, which has a wonderful wildlife reserve, if you don't know that, and that they have a full-time educator, and so we've helped partner them in some non-traditional ways with our schools. So how does all of this work happen? Of course, it starts with leadership, and just wanted to emphasize again that alignment is driven by the schools. As you can see, the leadership at the top level, we do have Dr. Joseph and Mary Pierce represent MNPS on our governing board of directors. Our operating board, which provides accountability for all of our alignment teams, makes sure they're working on the right things and making progress, is co-chaired by Dr. Felder and Dr. Narcisse. And then each one of our alignment teams, of which we have 14, and I'll share just a little bit about those in a minute, are co-chaired by an MNPS district leader and a community leader. And really, no offense to our operating board and board of directors members, but that's where the real work happens. Those alignment teams are work groups. They're cross-sector groups. They meet monthly, and they are the ones that are outlining these pilots, executing, measuring, and reporting back to the operating board. Our staff at Alignment Nashville provides logistical support. We make sure the meetings are happening, that they're productive, and we provide facilitation and project management. So we did provide this as a handout, so you have this if you want to look at that more closely. But this is just a high-level view of MNPS, of your annual priorities for this current school year. And the red circles just represent where our alignment teams are aligned. And we've spent a lot of time working very closely with Dr. Joseph and his team to make sure that we were aligned with that work. And that meant a lot of things. In some cases, we've closed some alignment teams we've had for a long time. We've combined a few. We've created a few new. A great example of a new one that we created to support this strategic plan is teacher recruitment and retention. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but you are going to hear a little bit about the work of that team, I think, later in this meeting. Some great things that are coming out of that work. So again, this is how our alignment teams are directly supporting your strategic plan. There's also a handout if you want to see some detail about who is on each team. I know you can't read that, so we do have a printed copy. Again, 14 alignment teams, and I just want to emphasize that this is alignment, much more than I am or any one of our staff members who are here. This is alignment. These are the people who are making this work happen. And again, leadership from MNPS, and you can see the focus areas for each A team and the area from the priorities that they're supporting. One thing that we're still working on, we actually have a board meeting on Thursday to finalize this, is how do we know we're having an impact? And what we are not doing is creating our own set of outcomes. Instead, we're using the same strategic, the performance measures from your strategic framework to measure the work of these teams. So they're kind of in big buckets of literacy, college and career readiness, chronic absenteeism, and school culture and climate. So each one of our 14 alignment teams will be working towards those indicators and making sure that we're having an impact. So with that, I just want to close and again say thank you. We are very appreciative of your support. One thing I do want to say also is that we don't do, and our board has asked us to not do fundraising out in the community so that we're not competing for funding with the nonprofits that we're working to align. So your support is very important for us being able to continue facilitating these partnerships. And we appreciate that continued support. Welcome any questions or feedback. You know how to find.
Questions? Yes. Thank you both, Angie and Melissa, for being here tonight for these presentations. We will move on to our next portion of the meeting, public participation. The board will hear from those persons who have requested to appear at this board meeting. In the interest of time, speakers are requested to limit remarks to 3 minutes or less, and comments will be timed. We will put the list of names up on the screens, and so if you please line up in that order. Thank you. Mary Holden first.
Good evening. My name is Mary Holden. I'm an MMPS parent and former teacher with 18 years of experience. Tonight we've heard some wonderful stories about great things that are happening in this district out in our schools with our students and teachers, but my concerns all lie at the top. When Dr. Joseph arrived last year, I felt excited about the possibilities for him to build on our successes and be a champion for our schools. Instead, the culture of fear is worse. Teachers have never been more scared to speak up. The demands placed on them far outweigh their pay. Their autonomy has been stripped. There's a teacher shortage and retention is a problem. None of this is acceptable. Dr. Joseph, you talk about leading outside of the box, but instead you've put yourself in a very expensive bubble, keeping you isolated from not only what's going on, but also from the bad and sometimes unethical decisions your executives have made. So you're leading from within the bubble instead of outside the box. You said you brought in the best people for these positions, but many lack the qualifications needed for their jobs. Instead of being forward-thinking, they are backward-thinking, only focused on standardized test scores and data. The only thing those scores show us are poverty levels. So while we should be working to combat poverty and make our schools equitable, instead we are wasting our time and precious resources focusing on meaningless test scores. We need to de-emphasize the role that testing plays and stop the false narrative that our schools are failing, because clearly, as you've seen tonight, they're not. This means getting rid of all the extra testing and data collection requirements that have been imposed, and instead, trust our teachers and let them teach. Perhaps the biggest concern is the complete disregard and disrespect I see for the experience, knowledge, and skills that are already here in Nashville. You've been operating from the false assumption that we are in crisis mode and that we don't have the capacity to fix things on our own. And that's been driving the bad policy decisions like purchasing canned curriculum and scripted lesson plans, outsourcing home visits to a company based in Maryland, and expensive, unnecessary out-of-state trainings, to name a few. Just as a new school year began, there was a new grading policy, a very bad homework policy, very bad, and a new literacy plan, all forced on teachers from the top down with no input. This is the opposite of what should be happening. School board members, I beg you, stop being silent followers. Your silence makes you complicit in these issues. You don't need to be in lockstep agreement all of the time. If you're frustrated about these things, I expect you to do something about it. I expect to hear from you publicly. You want to know where the district should focus its resources? We need to change our paradigm, build on success rather than destruction, build relationships, genuinely listen, follow the community schools model. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Benton.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Joseph. My name is Laura Benton. I'm the MNEA rep and the general music teacher at Cockrell Elementary School in District 9. I came tonight to thank you again for voting in favor of collaborative conferencing. I am thrilled that the collaborative conferencing has begun, and I understand a lot of progress has been made already. This is very encouraging to me and to my fellow MNEA members, and I can hardly wait for us to have a contract. You have demonstrated that you value our input here and want to work with us, which is especially needed right now as we continue to fight for properly funded public education, its teachers, and especially its students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Chris Mock.
Hi, good evening. I'm Chris Moth. I've got 3 kids in 3 different zone schools. I want to thank you again for convening the transition team. We were so fortunate to have that hardworking blue ribbon panel of experts from business, nonprofits, clergy, social services, and education. Dr. Joseph, your infectious energy gives us hope that maybe this time around some of these strategic recommendations from our civic leaders will get serious attention from you and the board, even if those recommendations cause discomfort for administrators, even if those recommendations upset a few parents along the way. You know, the transition team suggested moving 5th grade to elementary. That really wasn't my cup of tea, but I want you to listen again to their exact words from their report. Item 6. Determine feasibility of moving 5th grade to elementary schools to help address student attrition between elementary and middle school. Why again did the team want this? Because they want you to address student attrition. Again, I was one of the 25% parents not so thrilled with this. I'd prefer you focus on our more diverse integrated 5 through 8 middle schools. But 75% of the parents wanted this change, and that's a big majority. I joined several hundred community members at your Hillsborough High meeting. At that meeting, we used the clickers in the auditorium to take your survey, and the support for this K through 5 idea was quite strong. In my breakout group, I asked people who were getting excited about it, don't you realize that if we do this, it's going to take a lot of rezoning? And I was very impressed that people weren't so upset about that. I really feel we may have a new, younger crop of parents coming on who kind of don't think like we did in the 70s and 80s, and the district's about to move forward in a big way. But across Nashville, even still, too many people believe that MNPS can't move the ball well when it comes to strategic initiatives. You put K through 5 in front of our community as a serious option. You ask us to come to meetings, do surveys, and then I'm afraid when you take it away, people can lose faith that we're committed to this strategic process. I think, Dr. Joseph, you were right on the money at the last meeting. Few citizens watch board meetings, but when public school supporters show up and then sort of the ideas fizzle, people need to hear why, you know, clearly and get that explanation about why rezoning enough itself was not sufficient. Well, the good news is you're going to get even more chances to reduce attrition and follow recommendations of this transition team and show Nashville that you can indeed take action on strategic improvements. I particularly am excited about 2 initiatives. One is to improve the strength of academic programs across the district, and 2, to allow score screen magnet slots to be allocated by their source cluster. We already know each student's cluster. Modifying that computer program to help with the lottery and even out things certainly would help with the dream of those Nashville 16 and Brown v. Board. I know it's not going to cost $300 million. I hope you'll move ahead on it. I know it's hard. Thanks for all the work you do to support our kids. I do appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
Fellow citizens, my name is Gerald Grubb. I live at 415 Church Street, Unit 1514 in downtown Nashville. I am a twice retired 2nd and 3rd grade elementary teacher in the metro schools. My purpose today is to prompt you to explore and consider an online educational program named Vocabulary Spelling City. If you happened to watch TV this last Friday evening, September the 8th, you saw a program called XQ regarding high schoolers in America on 4 local TV stations, 2, 4, 5, and 17. I want you to think of Vocabulary Spelling City as the VQ of reading for Metro Davidson County elementary school kids, parents, and teachers. I have posted a 4-minute and 42-second YouTube presentation to be viewed. At Google, type 3 words, Gerald Grubb YouTube, and then view Rookie Intro to Vocabulary Spelling City. A lot is free, including a 1-month free trial. But to get more teachers involved in the program to explore it and use it, I'm going to pay the membership $60 grant to the first 5 teachers from 20 elementary schools. That's up to 100. You want to do it? If you're a teacher, get word to them. The email address to use is vqread@gmail.com. Please include the name of your school where you work, and this offer is good until October the 31st, 2017. Our students can do amazing things with Vocabulary Spelling City. I am certain Its use can narrow the achievement gap if we put it in place and do it often and with integrity. Our teachers, parents, and students can finally have individualized vocabulary instruction. Words can be most any length, from A to attitude, from jam to jamboree, from presto to prestidigitation, from eels to eleemosynary, from precocious to ferocious, but not supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's too long. On the YouTube video, there's a list of 8 whys for Vocabulary Spelling City. One of its hallmarks is wonderful audio presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. John Cummings?
Ladies and gentlemen of the board and Dr. Joseph, I'm John Cummins, and I teach 6th grade science at Donaldson Middle Prep. I'm part of the Donaldson community, and I rent a portion of a home at 517 Rivercrest Cove in Donaldson 37214. And I'm here to speak on a matter of public concern, low school salaries in Nashville, Tennessee. And I also speak as a member of the Metro Nashville Educational Association and on behalf of several thousand of your classroom teachers. Last year, I spoke twice about how our salaries were forcing teachers to take 2nd and 3rd jobs, and I'm one of those guys. Our teachers are leaving our schools for jobs in neighboring counties and elsewhere. At that time, according to the State Department of Education figures, we were the 17th best paid teachers in Tennessee. I will tell you today that according to the most recent DOE figures, we have since dropped to 21st in the state in average classroom teacher salaries, behind Lebanon and Manchester and Middle Tennessee. Now, we did receive a 3% cost of living raise last year, and we thank you for it. However, we also know that every other school system above us in the state of Tennessee also gave raises to their teachers. And those teachers don't live in the most expensive city in Tennessee. And despite an ill-planned, short-sighted sign-on bonus scheme that alienated and destroyed the morale of thousands of your veteran teachers, we still can't get enough teachers because of our low pay. And we have almost 100 classrooms sitting empty. At the MNEA, we have been conducting a salary comparison with similar-sized cities and neighboring states. We now ask you as a union, why are we being paid thousands less than classroom teachers in Birmingham, Alabama? Why are we being paid thousands less than classroom teachers in Little Rock, Arkansas? Why are we being paid thousands less than classroom teachers in Louisville, Kentucky? And in state, why are Nashville teachers always paid thousands less than classroom teachers in Memphis, Tennessee? Dr. Joseph, board members, we know Nashville is rolling in cash right now. Our own mayor tells us that. She wants to build railroads with it. So that we challenge you right now to help us. Take Mayor Berry and the City Council a budget that provides for a 25% pay raise for all Metro Nashville school employees over the next 5 years outside of central office executives. Show every teacher, bus driver, cafeteria worker, parapro, IT and maintenance worker that we are going to pay for the best and be the best. We challenge you right now to do this. The ball is now in your court, and 12,500 of your employees are going to watch and see what you do with it. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Kale. I'm a teacher at Margaret Allen Middle School. First, I just want to thank you for your firm commitment to the students, staff, and faculty who are DACA recipients. Your immediate statement in response to the President's decision to rescind DACA made me incredibly proud to work for this district. Thank you also for organizing information sessions to help our families understand their new legal situation. Currently, teachers are looking for guidance from the district on how schools can do more to protect our immigrant students and their families. Since November, MNEA teachers have taken the initiative to meet and partner with community organizations like the Nashville Community Defense to find out what we can do to make sure our schools remain a safe and secure learning environment. However, at the end of the day, we can't control much beyond our individual classrooms, and these students still worry about the possibility of finding loved ones missing from home. That's why we're seeking your help. Tonight, I want to ask you to consider how to best plan ahead for students who may suddenly find themselves alone without parents or guardians due to ICE activity. While we dread this possibility, we are urging you to create safety plans that could alleviate some of the inevitable trauma that could come from losing a parent to detention or deportation. We are asking that the district develop a protocol similar to what we might have for a traumatic or emergency situation, such as a natural disaster, in order to ensure our students are cared for in the absence of family. Some ways that the district could support these students include providing a safe place for students to wait if parents or siblings have been detained, finding ways to meet a child's immediate needs and prevent them from entering foster care, and providing counseling for students who have had a family member detained. Some school districts have begun to prepare by sending forms to all parents asking for clarification on who will care for their children temporarily in the event of family separation. While none of us want our students to lose their families or homes, our schools can and should play a critical role in supporting students who may experience such terrible losses. We thank you for your support, and we encourage you to join us in taking proactive action to protect our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Zama.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Zama, and I live at 1507 Constitution Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee. My child goes to Nashville Classical. I selected Nashville Classical because from the very beginning, they were clear about the quality education they could provide. They made it known that mediocrity is not a standard. They expect greatness, and with a quality team, hard work, family involvement, and dedication, greatness will be achieved. In addition, Nashville Classical followed up with me and made sure I understood the value and consistency they could provide. The structure and curriculum is wonderful, and my daughter has excelled. She's learning Spanish, she's excelling in mathematics, she's reading on a 5th grade level, she's in 4th grade, and she absolutely loves the culture. I have many family members that work for the Metro Nashville school system, and even they are impressed with how far advanced and developed she has become. Few that are here tonight that can hear me or watching know that my daughter has a health condition. She has sickle cell disease. Oftentimes, she can only attend school for half the day. Many times, she can't attend school at all. This medical condition, sometimes she wakes up, she may not be able to walk on her own accord. At those times, she may need her crutches or her wheelchair for assistance. Never once has Nashville Classical made me or her feel as if we were a hindrance. We haven't hindered the learning process nor the process of getting her into school and out of school. They have gone above and beyond to accommodate and assist us. They ensure that my child receives the same knowledge and instruction she would receive if she were in attendance. Point blank period, it's all about quality education and a sincere desire to want better for our children's futures, which is why I've signed the letter that we will be discussing. To kick off the 2017-18 school year, public charter school parents put together a letter commenting to our own sort of resolution, outlining our personal commitments and hopes for the school year. September 12, 2017, to the Metro Nashville Public School Board and Dr. Sean Joseph. We are signing this letter, 1,012 representatives of the thousands of parents across Davidson County who have chosen to send their children to Nashville's public charter schools. Our children attend every public charter school in Nashville: East End Prep, Explore, Intrepid College Prep, KIPP Academy, Knowledge Academies, Lead Public Schools, Nashville Classical, New Vision Academy, Purpose Prep, Republic, Rocket Ship, Smithson Craighead, STEM Prep, Strive Collegiate Academy, and Valor Collegiate. Some of us signed the letter last spring asking for the public charter focused attacks for some of our members to stop and for our elected school board to come together and focus on making all Nashville schools excellent. Since that time, we, along with many of our fellow public charter school parents, have been dismayed to see that on June 27th, 2017, you were unable or unwilling to pass a resolution committing to treat us and our children in our public schools with the same respect as the rest of Nashville schools. And so as we begin another school year with our children enrolled in MNPS public charter schools, we have come together to proudly support our public charter schools and send you a resolution of our own.
Thank you. Ms. Monique Fisher, Ali Balabi.
Good afternoon. My name is Halima Labi. I live at 822 17th Avenue North, Nashville, Tennessee, 37203. My children go to Purpose Prep, and I will be reading the commitments of this resolution. Here are our commitments related to the education of our children. We resolve to stand up. We will continue to stand up for our children and for our right to choose the education that best fits their needs. Across our city, families exercise choice every time they buy a home, complete an application, or look at magnet schools. Choice schools that partners with families, offer transportation, and engage communities deserve recognition rather than scorn. We resolve to speak up. Parents in Nashville deserve to know about the great work happening in our schools and to know that they too have choices. Leaders in Nashville deserve to know about our system's bright spots. We will continue to ask this board to recognize that our children and family are part of this district, and in many cases, our schools are among the district's strongest. We resolved to lift up. Our children deserve to know that their socioeconomic status does not and will not define their ability to learn. Our elected officials should use their bully pulpit to highlight what is possible for our city's most vulnerable children and families. Likewise, we believe that the conversation about schools needs to change. We will model civility by respecting diverse viewpoints, using facts to support our beliefs, and operating with humble spirits. We resolve to never resort to name-calling, partial truths, or libelous attacks. Before our next speaker closes out the resolution, I would like to tell you a little about my experience at my children's school and why I signed this letter. Purpose Prep has made the unimaginable possible for the kids that are typically forgotten by most people. Our school strategically seeks out those children and gives them possibility and hope through hard work and high expectations. It has given my children a foundation that I could argue rivals any private school in this city. And the instant my children hit that door, they are greeted with love, taught with love, corrected in love, and elevated with love. I am eternally grateful for what Purpose Prep has done for my family. When we speak about equity in education, when we speak about social justice, when we speak about our children receiving a holistic education, when we speak about dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline and creating a citizenry that is educated, active, and well-informed, we're talking about Purpose Prep and a lot of our charter schools in this district. Thank you so much.
Monique Fisher here.
Good evening. My name is Monique Fisher. I live at 4324 Winton Drive, Antioch, Tennessee, 37013. I have 3 girls. 2 of them, 14 to 12, attend Intrepid College Preparatory. As a parent, we all want the best education for our child. In my zone, the school grade level average is below there in academics. I know that we can improve anywhere. I don't have the choice to go to magnet school, or I don't have money to go to private school. You have to be tested to go to magnet school. But charter schools are a choice in my community, the choice that I want for my children, the only choice, the choice that I deserve, that we deserve. As Intrepid, they give they expect academics, I'm sorry, they expect academically, they do everywhere. Academically, they expect my children to do well, and they are greeted, and it works. I have a 21, that's my third child, I have a 21-year-old that's been through the system. I've taken care of my brother and sister who have been in public schools. But this has shown a big difference in my daughter having problems in comprehension and math. I've been there with all of the children that I've raised, which is my 2 children, my brother and sister, and my 21-year-old. They didn't have charter schools to choose from. They had magnet, and like I said, I can afford private. And so this is my choice, the choice of my children, the choice of my tax dollars. And in closing this resolution, we hope that our commitments set forth here will inspire you to make a similar commitment to do the job you are each elected to do. We look forward to seeing you commit to the focus on ensuring that all Nashville children have the ability to attend great public schools. We look forward to the day when a public school family knows that they can make the best choice for their children without receiving the worst treatment from our elected officials. Thank you. Signed by 1,200 proud Nashville public charter school parents. Thank you so much for your time, and please hear our voice.
Thank you. Yusuf Husseini?
Hello, my name is Yusuf Husseini. I just want to thank you all for the incredible work you guys do day in, day out for our children. I am a proud father of a very intelligent daughter. Of course, I know we all have intelligent kids here, but she's very special to me. She goes to Intrepid College Prep. I'm at 3612 Long Haven Crossing in Antioch / Cane Ridge. I don't think we've decided yet exactly where we're going with that. But she is thriving where she's at. She's doing exceptional. I'm so proud of her. She gets her homework done a lot of the times, maybe in 30 minutes. As before, before it was a real struggle. It was 8:30, 9 o'clock. It was a lot of pressure, things of that nature. A little bit about me. I'm, Middle Tennessee banker, Middle Tennessee alumni, junior achievement volunteer. And it was early on in her education history. She's like her dad. She has ADHD, so if she sees something shiny, she gets distracted type deal. And so they didn't really, I don't feel like they knew exactly how to deal with that. And so it was one of those things where, we had a lot of caring people, sat in the conference area, and we discussed again and again on how best to achieve this. How can we go to that next level with my daughter? And everyone was, caring and generous in their contributions. The concern, though, was we put her in IE, and the problem, as I started to really try to understand it more and to see exactly where it was supposed to go, they just didn't have the resources. They didn't have the resources. They didn't have what seemingly maybe the know-how. I don't want to go that far, but the idea was to pull her out of class, and instead of being in a curriculum with her peers, she went to another class, and they just kind of, they gave her math problems that were 2 grade levels below, reading that was the same. It wasn't challenging her. I can remember telling her to, hurry up because, I just wanted to make sure we were on time for school. And she's like, Dad, I'm not slow. I'm like, I didn't say that. I was just like, hurry up. Let's get to school on time. So anyways, those were some of the struggles that we had. I decided the IEP wasn't the right path. I talked to friends and family, found out a great charter / magnet school in my area. And from there, she's been thriving. I'm not saying it was easy. It was a struggle for many years, but this is the year that it's really starting to, come alive for her, and she enjoys going to school. And, I'm very proud of her, and she told me that she wants to, be a doctor. So thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to governance issues with the consent agenda. Ms. Spearing.
Thank you, Ms. Shepherd. Can I pull something from the consent agenda? The line item E, number 2, Edgenuity. Anything else? Okay.
Action items 1A, approval of minutes 7/11/17 and 8/8/17. B, recommended approval of supplement number 1 for Antioch High School classroom additions. Johnson Johnson Crabtree Architects, PLLC. C, recommended approval of request number 24 for purchase of furniture at Creve Hall Elementary School additions, GBI. D, recommended approval of request number 25 for purchase of furniture, McMurray Middle School renovations, GBI. E, 1, awarding of purchases and contracts, 1, Cross and Joftis. 3, Insight Public Sector, Inc. 4, Vanderbilt University. 5, YMCA of Middle Tennessee. And F, legal settlement claim number L-16294 for $32,500. Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
A second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in approve, use your iPad, please. That motion passes unanimously. Ms. Bugs.
Thank you. Just a quick thing. Earlier this evening, we were charged to have some of the hard conversations, and I think this discussion around Edgenuity will be one that I just really want you all to think about. This past weekend, we had that great retreat where we started to have the hard conversations. We talked about what was expected of us as board members, what is inside our purview and what's not. And we have done a lot of talking about charter schools and the ASD and lawsuits and who Dr. Joseph has hired and what the minority administrators are doing when no one in Nashville seemed to care about administration before his tenure, but we have not talked a lot about curriculum or achievement. So with Edgenuity, for those of you who don't know, Edgenuity is replacing A+. So A+ was the credit recovery system, and I know this is the first year for implementation, and at the schools that I've been working with, there were some IT issues, but I got the email, I'm sorry, I just saw it, but I got the email from Dr. Felder saying that they've already kind of troubleshot some of those and they're not having content issues. It's just IT issues. So the thing is, we do have a big teacher shortage, and many of our students are taking, I know my students are taking their math classes online, meaning they're watching a video, they're taking quizzes, they're answering questions, and then they have a test. So I know this is kind of what we have to do since we don't have teachers, but I just wanted to kind of hear if there were any other reasons around the switch to Edgenuity. Was it based on just the rigor, or was this a kind of a better contract? What do the numbers look like for other districts? Because I know there were a lot of problems with A+.
Yeah, I can speak to that. The reason for switching over was because A+ didn't have a lot of robust pieces that Edgenuity had. So when we spoke to actually a lot of even getting feedback from our principals, they wanted to have one platform to actually do the work. When we came in, we did assessment around the credit recovery. Some schools had 2 platforms they were using. A+ was one, and the other one was Edgenuity for the credit recovery program. And so we decided to move towards one platform because that was the one that was more robust in the system.
Okay, thank you. And that brings up a second kind of part B to this. We've talked a lot about us not having teachers, but I don't know that we've talked a lot, at least on the board floor, about what we're going to do about that. we haven't talked at all about the state rescinding that policy to allow for the transitional or practitioner's license. Again, for those of you who don't know, many STEM teachers, so people like me that had a physics degree in undergrad, I didn't have an education degree, I went on to earn a master's, and while I was earning that master's, while I was taking the praxis test and getting certified, I was allowed to begin working at a middle school under a transitional license. It allowed me 3 years to complete certification. Well, the state, and I don't know if it's the state board or the State Department of Education, but they rescinded that policy, which caused, I counted, I know at least 20 teachers that lost their certification last year because that policy was rescinded. So I kind of wanted to have a discussion and see, since we're going to focus on curriculum and achievement, and that's what we're going to talk about on the board floor, what are we going to do? We can use our voice to advocate to whoever it is, but I've been digging for weeks. David Severe has helped me with this. We've reached out to the board, to the state board and to the Department of Education, but where does that policy start, and how can we either help to reinstate those teachers that missed that certification? How can we start working with the area colleges who are also having trouble getting their students into those transitional licenses? Because I can only speak to TSU, and after speaking with them, they're having issues also.
So Deborah Story is going to give a presentation today on
Sorry about
retention.
that.
So I was
Didn't mean to
thinking
take your
that might be a question, if I may ask, if we can hold when she gives the presentation. It'll be very appropriate for her to address it there, because she's going to cover that along with a number of other areas as it relates to our human resources.
Okay. I'll wait on that.
Okay.
So, do you, Ms. Muggs, are you
Yes, I'm
comfortable
good
with the
now.
explanation
Yeah.
around Edgenuity? So do you
That was
want to make a
perfect.
motion?
Sure, I make a motion that we accept the contract for Edgenuity.
Can I get a second on that? Second. Okay. Any more discussion around that particular item? Okay. We'll use our iPads to vote on that then. All right, that motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Baring, and thank you, Ms. Buggs, for that. We'll move on to item number 2 under governance issues. Ms. Rowe.
On August 22nd of this year, we approved in Governance Committee a new policy concerning student and family data and information, and I will read the new policy and make a motion. The policy reads as follows. The Metro Nashville Board of Public Education is committed to protecting Metro Nashville Public Schools student and family data and information in a secure environment and helping to maintain student and family privacy. With this in mind, the director shall ensure that MNPS student and family data and information are collected, handled, stored, and protected in accordance with the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA. Not released to other school districts the directory information as defined by FERPA for any MNPS students and families. I move to approve the new policy as read.
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair, we've been advised by Metro Legal, and I'll ask Ms. Harkey to come to the podium, that the bullet point, the second bullet point that Ms. Frog read, not released to other school districts, the directory information as shared, pass that down, as shared, as defined by FERPA for any MNPS students and families. Ms. Harkey has advised us that we need to add a little bit additional language there, and what's coming around the table is the policy proposal. The one on the top is the one that was approved by the Governance Committee. The one on the bottom is includes the proposed amendatory language that Ms. Harkey has recommended, and the way I'm going to do this is fold it in half and focus on the one on the bottom at this point. But Ms. Harkey, do you want to explain why we need to add that additional language before considering this?
Sure. Yeah, the discussion within the governance committee was quite robust. It was good. It made it clear that really the intention or the idea behind this was to try to limit data or not provide data to the ASD for the purposes of marketing and recruiting, or other uses that would not be something that they would otherwise have access to. My suggestion was to put in some kind of language to kind of make that intent known. There are going to be times where the district will have to share data with ASD. For example, they will have students that are enrolled to attend their schools, and once those students are enrolled to attend those schools, they will have access to that student data. So I just suggested that it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and clarify that, to make sure that we're not planning to prevent them from having access to the data of the students that are actually going to be attending ASD schools.
You're referring to kind of garden variety transfers, not just to the ASD, but to Wilson County schools, or
Correct.
Cheatham County, or
Yeah,
anywhere else?
anybody, yes, anybody, when they transfer to a different school district, we are notified, and we, under FERPA, should and are allowed to release data to that school district where they're enrolling.
So with that, I would like to make a motion. I think that's good catch. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to amend the policy proposal that came out of Governance Committee to cure it, as Ms. Harkey, Metro Legal, have suggested. So that's a motion.
Don't we have to vote on the first one first? No?
We amend, and then
All
we
right.
discuss.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a question. Since we did so much policy work this weekend with TSBA, I did look at the TSBA policy regarding student records, contact information, releasing of it, everything else, and it's quite comprehensive, and it does seem to cover a lot of the bases, and also kind of further define what directory information is. And so I feel like I was getting confused with this conversation. It seemed to be solely focused on FERPA and protecting student privacy. As news reports and other things comes out and interviews, it sounds like this really is solely focused on the ASD. My questions are, why approve a policy now when we're in the middle of revising without considering these TSBA policies that we're considering, and that we also talked about having a process where we do several readings and get some input before we approve policy. So I don't know if this is wanting to get passed on through and then we start this process, or how are we addressing what we just discussed on Saturday with this policy? I'm sorry, I asked Madam Chair.
All right, well,
You're deferring? Okay.
Can we park, those are good questions, can we park them for the main discussion? Right now, what's in front of us is a legal recommendation to amend the language as it has come from out of Governance Committee, and then, if the board's will is to amend that language as legal as recommended, then we'll be back on kind of the main discussion for the motion of whether or not to pass the policy.
Questions, concerns? All right, we have a motion on the floor. It's been motioned and seconded, and we have had discussion. We need to vote on it.
Can you restate the motion? Or is it up there? Okay, to amend
Yeah, the motion is to
it. Change the language, right?
Right. The motion is to amend the proposed policy that emerged from Governance Committee in order to include the recommended language from Metro Legal. I've had problems with mine.
Did Dr. Brandon touch it? Because she breaks hers.
I need help. Oh, thank you.
All right, the motion has passed. So we will be moving on to director's reports. Dr. Joseph.
We need to talk about we amended the language, now we're back on the main motion.
Okay, all right. So we have a main motion that Ms. Brogue made, and it was seconded, and we discussed it, and so we need to vote on that one as well, unless there's other discussion.
Yeah, I think there's discussion.
Okay.
So to answer Ms. Pierce's question that she posed before we move back to the main motion, the ASD gave us a 30-day timeline or 30-day deadline to respond, and our policy, our bigger policy revision work is going to take like 6 months to play out. I think that, I believe that on August 22nd, when we were passed this at a governance committee by a pretty significant margin of the board, that we did the right thing, and I'm more convinced now than ever that we did the right thing. Over the past few weeks, we've learned a lot more information about the ASD, including they're under a federal investigation, the key lawmaker in the House who chairs the House Education Committee disagrees with Commissioner McQueen's interpretation of the law that he sponsored, and I just think I think there's a lot of doubt about whether it's in the best interest of children to turn over this data to the ASD.
I mean, I don't disagree. I also want to point out that, some of the results of the ASD schools, we use the same measuring stick, right? The same tool that you all will agree says the ASD is not performed well is often sometimes the same tool that we disagree with when it's our district schools. So I think, first of all, the ASD would not have come into our community had we been excellent with our kids in those schools. So, I mean, I think that's a whole separate conversation. I think what I am frustrated by was the FERPA, the kind of the drama around saying this is all about protecting student information when the question was never asked, do we share this with other vendors? How have we used this information in the past? So, I mean, I can go there with a question about how do we communicate with our families that are zoned for schools that have not been performing for decades, whether that was under our watch, whether that's under an ASD school watch. I believe our families need to know from us, they need to know their public school options. It's not an option to just say we're going to withhold information for you. We can debate who they find, who is it the ASD school, who is it? But to just let them sit there and say we're protecting them because we really don't want to release that information. I just don't want to make this, in my position is I will absolutely protect student and family information from illegal use. This is not illegal use. This is directory information that right now, until we get the Attorney General's opinion, it is supposedly state law. So I cannot support going against the state law, but I will really be resentful if I am framed in a way that says I'm selling out families' privacy.
I made a counteroffer to for ASD school for them to get the information another way, where we share only the information that they need, and that was met with silence.
I do have a question. Was that during the conversation with Dr. McQueen?
No, it was written.
But that was after so you all had the conversation, and then you gave her a letter that...
I made a counteroffer. I did.
Okay, then when she responded to us after the conversation that you all had, and then the letter that you gave to her, what was her response?
Concerning my counteroffer?
Yeah, after the conversation.
I didn't get a response.
But again, you all did have a conversation. It was just before you presented a counteroffer.
Yes.
Okay. Could we have another conversation with her, or is the...
I'm always happy to have a conversation.
Okay. Do we vote on that? Like, do I need to make a motion, or what do we do?
Now, as board chair, I can reach out and
Okay.
see if she's interested in having another conversation.
Okay.
Where are we in the 30-day period timeline?
30-day period is over. The 30 days kind of came and went. September 1st was our 30 days. Again, with kind of using the stuff that came out of the governance policy, Chairwoman Shepherd's response to Candace McQueen, we kind of used that as our justification, and the 30 days has come and gone. So that's where we are with the timeline.
But I can add from that conversation that was had, additional time was given because we communicated that we would be communicating with those families that were in the ASD zone. I think there were about 8,100 families in that zone, and we said we would be sending out opt-out options for them. So the commissioner was aware of that and gave us the additional time to be able to do that and continue to communicate while, we were still going through the AG process and so forth. But so we're out of compliance from the 30 days, but it was understood that we were going to be given additional time. But we have not had communications since then.
Dr. Gender, did you have something?
Yeah, so I guess I'm trying to understand where the policy fits in. Please don't leave. Where does this policy fit into? So I guess the bigger question is, if there's still unrest about the policy, given that we're in a big policy revision and policy review process overall, how does what we decide to do about this policy affect anything that we've already done? Since what we've agreed to do has nothing to do with the policy, original or modified.
So under FERPA, we are, the district, the board, is able to decide for whom and for what purpose they are going to give out directory information. And so this policy kind of goes right along with that discussion under FERPA. You're absolutely right in terms of timeline. I mean, we've kind of given our response, but this policy would be the board's kind of talking further a little bit more about to whom and for what purpose we're providing that information.
So I guess what I'm trying to clarify is that one of the responses was because of a timeline. That timeline is moot with regards to needing to rush through making a vote on this policy.
We are past our September 1
We've passed the 30-day deadline, plus an additional time has been given. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's really no direct connection between making a decision on this policy and the current issue of the request from the ASD. This would be a policy for future requests if they ask for something else tomorrow. But as far as the request that we did not respond to in timely enough fashion, that a letter was submitted and then a meeting was held, that request is on its own thing floating around. This policy, putting this policy in place today, has no impact on that.
I don't know how much time we have been given in terms of an extension. I understand
have
what
no
you're
idea
saying,
either.
but I don't know when that time is up. Ultimately, though, when it comes to the question of whether or not there is currently a policy in place for the board deciding for whom and to what purpose this information would be given, we don't have anything without this policy.
Gotcha. But if I'm not mistaken, as a part of that committee meeting, in lieu of having a policy, we gave a recommendation or request to our director to do something. So we've taken care of that separate from this policy. I guess is what I'm just trying to, I get your response, and you probably don't want to respond anymore to this. So I'm just trying to clarify that request from Candace McQueen is on a separate plan and trajectory of its own. We've out of the 30 days, some additional period of time was given that we have not been made aware of what that time is. But this policy, we need a policy, but this policy does not have a direct impact on that request from McQueen, I guess is what I'm trying to clarify.
So where we are in the process is the ASD data demand letter came in. That's what triggered the governance committee meeting to go ahead and get us on the record as a group. And it was, almost unanimous. Then there were follow-up communications between our board chair and the commissioner. We've gotten a little out of kilter as an organization. On the one hand, there was an opt-out letter, that went out to certain families without, having a board discussion first. On the other hand, I believe that the offer that Ms. Shepard made to Commissioner McQueen was that we would allow families to opt in to receive communication. And I think, we need to have a bigger conversation as a board about what our default position is going to be. But right now, we've got a policy that sailed out of governance committee in front of us, and let's go ahead and kind of finish the process, I would ask.
I just want to say that the board speaks through policy, and we've all agreed that we act as a board through our policy. And in this particular case, we need a clear directive to our director of schools as to what the board as a whole wants to do, and I believe that's why we're voting on this tonight. Now, in the future, if we want to amend something, but I still think that it's important that we put together some sort of clear directive so there's no confusion about what might occur with the ASD over the next, several months. So.
I'd have something else. So Ms. Frog, respectfully, my personal unrest is that there's already a lot of confusion. And you're saying that the board speaks through policy, but there have been other conversations that the board has not been made privy to. And so I guess it's hard for me to, and so please be clear, I'm not disagreeing that we need a policy. I'm trying to understand that the ship on the ASD request has already sailed. See what I'm saying? And so you say we need a policy to give clear direction. We gave clear direction to our director of schools in that meeting. So we already sent, let me finish, please. We already sent them off. We sent them off to Candace McQueen. We sent them off to a meeting. Then a letter that came from someplace was given to Candace McQueen, and then there was a response to that letter, and then there was a response to that letter. And all of that happened without conferring to the board. So we can't pick and choose when board policy requires board discussion, when the board's not always in a discussion that's informing policy.
No,
So and I'm not arguing.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear that what we're discussing here, we need a policy. You are correct, because the ASD will ask again. Somebody else is going to ask. But I think I want to be clear. I'm trying to understand, is what we decide here going to change something in the other discussions that have happened that we're not privy to?
My response, I hear you, but I think the difficulty in this situation is that we did not have a board meeting to finalize any sort of policy, and so we had to respond. So I think in that particular instance, there was movement without a vote. We can decide whether or not that's what we want to do in the future, but I do think at this point, since we have the opportunity to vote in a policy officially on the board floor, we voted it in at the governance committee, we can officially vote it in now. I think it's just time to go ahead and make the decision, and hopefully we won't run into that issue again, but I hear you, I understand.
And to be clear, the communication that went to Dr. McQueen, written and verbal, was based upon the committee meeting vote, because it was nearly unanimous.
To an extent, yeah, it was.
One more thing. I understand. I would encourage you all to read the TSBA policies, because they're very comprehensive. And I find that this policy is also extremely narrow, and that it only discusses this directory information going to schools, whereas we know that this district uses at least 69 vendors and other agencies that get our student contact information. So I'm a little not sure why it's just for schools.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we need to have bigger conversations about these 69 vendors, why they're receiving the extent of information that they're receiving, including apparently, in some cases, biometric data of kids, and I think that's a great conversation for another day. I think, Dr. Gentry, kind of where I feel about it is we're in the process. We've worked it through the committee system. It's kind of a natural order to go to the board floor and finish the conversation for now. Just remind everybody that the ASD is under federal investigation for sexual violence. The House committee chairman who passed the law that Dr. McQueen is citing says that she's wrong. She's misinterpreting the law. He's on our side. And furthermore, the ASD is in total, leadership turmoil right now. So I think, it's time to do what's right for children. My personal opinion.
Anybody else?
Just ready to get to curriculum and hiring and retention and get away from the same stuff we always talk about and not what the board is supposed to do.
On the floor, and it's been moved and seconded, and so now we need to take a vote. We had the first motion.
Oh, you just going back to the very beginning.
Right.
When Amy and
Right.
Yes, it wasn't an amended motion. Mr. Pinkston amended the language.
We're back on the main motion.
And so
we're
the main
voting
motion is to approve
the bottom one.
the bottom one.
Yeah.
Need these things to make a sound or something. I'm always just staring up at the screen.
I got you. Okay. So that motion has been approved as well. Okay, thank you. Now on to the good stuff. We are going to the director's reports. Dr. Joseph.
Thank you. So tonight, there are several components of my director's report, including a presentation on the basic education program, a move to using multiple measures to identify students for gifted and talented programs, an encore, and our recruitment and retention update. So we'll begin with the BEP discussion, and tonight you're going to hear from Robert Gowan, attorney at Millsap Gowan Government Relations, about the way in which the state of Tennessee calculates the basic education program, education formula, the history of what's included in the formula, Metro's government's role in funding, its adequacy, and how it affects Metro Nashville Public Schools. So at this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Gowan.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Thank you, members of the board, for having me. I was invited tonight to come and give a presentation on the history and a current overview of the BEP, state's funding formula. And for better, for worse, the BEP has been shaped for the state's funding formula has been shaped for the last 30 years through a series of lawsuits. The first lawsuits were brought by the small schools. 77 small schools sued the state starting in 1988 over the state's funding formula. And the dates you see there, just for information, those are the dates that the three Supreme Court cases were published in each of those three lawsuits. This presentation was originally a lot longer. I can talk about those lawsuits for at least an hour. I'm trying to keep this to 10 minutes. I just want to let you know the principles that came from that series of litigation are listed there. Probably the most important one, or the most important one, is the first one. The Supreme Court said every student in Tennessee has a right to a publicly funded education. They also said, in terms of equity, that opportunity for education should be equal across the state, no matter where a child lives. Also very important, the court said that school funding is a key component in providing that equal opportunity for education across the state. And in the last two opinions, the court said that the funding formula should take into account what it actually costs to run an education system in Tennessee. So the BEP, the original BEP, was a piece of legislation that passed in 1992. It actually was adopted before that first court opinion came out. And that plan did a lot of things. The one that is most important for our discussion tonight is for the first time after the BEP was adopted in 1992, the state adopted a physical capacity model for funding public schools. And very basically what that means, if you're a rich school district, you're going to get less money from the state on a per pupil basis. If you're a poorer school district, you're going to get more money. Before the BEP, the state essentially appropriated an amount of money based on the number of students that each district had. The state paid 50% from that appropriation, and the local district paid 50%. But now we have and still have a fiscal capacity model in Tennessee. So I thought it would be interesting for you to see where Metro Schools has come in this process, and going back to 1988, because that was the year the first lawsuit was filed. In 1988, your budget was $221 million, and of that, the state was paying 40% of your total. And in 1988, and you'll see this is the case in subsequent years, in 1988, Metro government was paying $45 million, or 25% of the total budget was outside of the BEP. So that's additional to the money that is generated through the state's funding formula. Another year that is interesting is the first year the BEP was implemented. As you can see, even after fiscal capacity was applied to the formula, with a budget of almost $300 million, the state was still paying more than 40% of your total. But if you fast forward 12 years, and this is full implementation of BEP for over a decade, your budget was $545 million, and by that time, the state was funding 30% of your total budget. And that was happening all over the state with larger districts. The next big thing that happened in the history of the BEP, the mayors of the big four counties started lobbying for revisiting the BEP fiscal capacity model. Because by that time, especially in the class districts, Shelby County, Davidson County, Knoxville, and Hamilton, those districts began to pay a lot more than the state was putting into their school districts. And so there was a push on the governor and the legislature to change the fiscal capacity model. And they were threatening litigation in 2005, 2006 of the way the state was funding education. So that led to the implementation or the passing of a bill that came to be known as BEP 2.0 in 2007. So the original BEP formula lasted about 15 years. And again, I don't have enough time tonight to go into everything that BEP 2.0 did, but it did change the assumptions on fiscal capacity to only recognize the actual revenue streams that local governments had. In the old formula, what's known as the TASER model, income was considered. We don't tax income in Tennessee, but under BEP 2.0, property tax and sales tax were the two things that are considered when you're determining a district's fiscal capacity. For reasons I'll show on the next slide, BEP 2.0 was supposed to have been phased in over a couple of years. But as you know, the Great Recession hit in 2007, and that limited the amount of available revenue for the years 2007 through 2010. And during those years, the small schools started complaining again that the new fiscal capacity model had shifted too much money to the large districts. So that resulted in a bill that was passed last year that essentially froze the fiscal capacity model in place. So the BEP 2.0 will not be fully implemented. And probably most important to Metro schools, the CDF, which a lot of people refer to as cost of living adjustment, that was reduced by another 25% last year, and that resulted in Metro losing almost $9 million in a cost of living adjustment. You lost almost $2 million again this year when it was reduced further. So where are you now? And all of the numbers that I've shown in 1988, 2003, or 1993 and 2005, all of those top line numbers that's the number that the Metro Council approves every year. And earlier in spring, Metro Council approved your budget almost $880 million. If you look, the state is contributing through the BEP 32% to that total. And in 2017, you were still paying a little bit more than what you were paying outside of the BEP in 1988. You're paying 27% above what's generated by the BEP, so a total of $237 million. And I'm going to stop right here. I don't think I address this in the next slide. You're not the only state or only district that's happening. And I will show a little later that that's happening across the state. Districts are paying a lot more than is generated through the BEP. So one question I was asked to try to address is talk about some of the things that people have complained about when they talk about the BEP being adequately funded or not. And a couple of rankings that I think you'll find interesting if you don't know already. The Census Bureau comes out with the report, I think, every 2 or 3 years. Their latest report came out this spring, and it ranked Tennessee 45th in terms of pupil spending. And you can see the national average, 11,000. Tennessee's per pupil on average is almost 9,000. Metro, according to the Census Bureau, is at 10,000 per student. Another ranking, I think this comes out every year, Council on Great City Schools has you ranked 54th out of 68 among urban school systems, again, on per pupil spending. So I think you all know that in 2015, Hamilton County and Shelby County both filed lawsuits against the state. Both lawsuits allege that the current state funding formula is inadequate. The lawsuits that the small schools have filed their claims were more about equity, or they were about equity. These lawsuits, or the Hamilton County lawsuit, is strictly about adequacy. The Shelby County lawsuit is about adequacy, but it also has an equity claim. And essentially that claim is that the funding formula, or the funding, is so inadequate that it has caused inequitable distribution of the opportunity for an education in Tennessee among its students, or for its students. So what are the specific things Hamilton County and Shelby County are concerned about in their lawsuits? The first thing I'll talk about is what we call the teacher salary gap. For the last few years, probably going back to 2007, 2008, there's been about a $10,000 gap in the amount of money that the state of Tennessee puts in the BEP formula for teacher salaries versus what the average teacher salary is in Tennessee. As you know, there have been a lot of investment in K-12 education, especially for teacher salaries in the last 3 years. And that has closed the gap somewhat. And this slide has my estimate of what I think what the gap will be later this year after school districts have applied that new money for teacher salaries. And I think it's going to be, as you can see there, about an $8,000 gap. And that if the state were to include the average teacher salary in, I'm not sure how to get rid of that. If the average teacher salary were included as the BEP salary component, it would cost the state, as you see, $420 million to close that gap. And Metro schools would receive roughly $25 million more just for teacher salaries if the average component were used. Okay. There you go. Thanks.
Got 13 minutes, it looks like.
All right, so that's the first, the first claim that both lawsuits make.
About 1,000.
Let me finish.
This is hard copy. That's why you never get up without a hard copy. You don't.
Does everybody have a?
Yeah.
You got
We do. Yes, we do.
What'd you say, Chris?
All right, we're on slide 18.
What's the?
So we've got the BEP formula according to the lawsuits, does not generate.
It's not numbered. What's the headline that we're looking at?
Staff funded by local districts outside of the BEP.
Gotcha.
Back in, or actually a year ago, the comptroller issued a report that showed that school districts in Tennessee across the state on average are paying for 100% of the salary and benefits for about 17% of your teachers across the state. And that's part of what Hamilton County and Shelby County have complained about in their lawsuit. And specifically, their claim is that when the BEP is being generated, the state is not considering mandates that you have for class size. So that is where that part of the lawsuit's coming from. According to the data that the comptroller used last year to produce their reports, you're funding about 700 teachers completely outside of the BEP. And then the last thing that both lawsuits mention are, in general, unfunded mandates. Specifically, the lawsuits talk about higher standards that have not come with additional funding. And another specific thing is RTI, response to intervention. The state is not currently paying for any part of your cost for RTI. And then in the Shelby County lawsuit, and I'm going to go through this part really quickly, Shelby County has a part of their lawsuit where we talked about staff. They've got a part that talks about stuff that they, and it's a long list. You can see 5 slides of things that they say that they need as an urban school system to provide the kind of education that their specific type of students need, whether that's EL students, at-risk students. They have the largest percentage of students with economically disadvantaged students. So you can see they, in their lawsuit, they claim to need more money for math and reading teachers, behavioral specialists, pre-K classes, and then alternative schools. But I'll let you go through that list. So those are the things that the 2 school systems that have sued most recently have covered. There are a couple of things I wanted to mention. One is specific to Metro and 4 other school districts. I mentioned earlier that the state has begun to take out the last part of CDF. And that, I mentioned that's already cost you about $10 million. It still costs more to run a school system in Nashville than it does on average. I went across the state. I went and looked at the BEP handbook, which the state uses to calculate the BEP every year. It costs, their calculation is almost 20% more to run a school system in Nashville than it is statewide. The only other district that's higher is Williamson County. Then the capital component of the BEP. This spring and summer, the TASER committee, who used to be in charge of generating the BEP physical capacity model, that now there's 50% in charge, they have started to look at whether the capital component of the BEP is adequate. There are school systems like Rutherford County and Williamson County that are building multiple schools a year, and the state participation in that is minimal. So the last slide, how much is the state, what I've done is taken the data from the state's report card. If you go to the state's report card, it'll show you not only what each district, according to the state's calculation, not only what each district is spending per student, but it also tells you what the state is spending per student in total. And that total is a little over $8 million. And those dollars include what the state and what local districts are putting into K-12. But the BEP formula only generates $6 billion. So by that calculation, and this is backed up somewhat by a statement that the comptroller made last year to the Education Committee when he was asked, how much do you think the BEP is underfunded? And he said probably $1 billion. So what is generated from the BEP probably underfunded by $2 billion. The state's not going to pay all of that. The state generally is going to pay 65%, so it would be about $1.3 billion that the state would have to come up with to fully fund everything that districts are spending right now. I know I went through that quickly. My contact information's on the last slide. I'll be glad to answer any questions now or any questions that you have later.
Any questions? Ms. Barry?
Robert, thank you for this presentation. It's always good to, the BEP is so complex, so it's always good to hear a refresher. You suggested that the shortfall of $2 billion and a billion would help us tremendously. However, I know that's a lot of money. How much has the General Assembly cut from the state tax base over the last few years? And I'm thinking specifically about the Improve Act. And there was a lot of money that was savings to the state. How has that impacted us?
Yeah, this is a question that is kind of fresh on my mind because the Improve Act was passed this spring. It was mainly a gas tax increase, but included in that were $400 million in tax cuts, make it more palatable for people to vote for a tax increase with the gas tax increase. There were cuts to the hall income tax, cuts to the grocery tax, and cuts to probably the biggest cuts. We won't really know what the cost is, but the estimate overall is $400 million. Cuts to the F&E tax, the corporate tax. That was this year. The grocery tax, General Assembly started cutting the grocery tax in 2007. And that is, I know that during the discussion of the Improve Act, there was a lot of discussion that taxes had already been cut $250 million in recent years. So $650 million has been cut from the tax base.
Anybody else? Any questions? Ms. Bug?
Got a couple. So thank you. This is a very timely and informative presentation. So first of all, I wanted to ask, why did the state's portion of our funding drop to 32%? Is that because our revenue increased, or is something else in play?
Two main reasons. The main reason is Nashville got richer in the last 30 years since BEP, and when it's based on fiscal capacity, the more people that move in that are making more money or spending more money, our fiscal capacity goes up. That's part of it. But you've also had additional costs that have not been covered in the way that the state has covered other costs. And probably ELL is one of the things that impacts you more so than other districts. But there are costs like that. And then look at that list from Shelby County. Those are things that they have seen essentially since the BEP was generated that were not really considered priorities whenever the BEP was passed in 1992.
Second question, does the BEP funding formula, does that take into account the state's fiscal capacity? Okay, no. So in other words, if, the state, if we generate additional revenue and taxes, then the BEP just does not adjust to reflect the additional revenue. We simply remain the same.
No, but there's a report that I can send anybody later that EDWE puts out on school funding that ranks states, or they give each state a grade on how much you're doing certain things. But that's one of the things. Are you using the amount of wealth that you have? They don't call it fiscal capacity. But, are you using the amount of wealth that you have to fund your schools? So, but that's not taken into consideration when the BEP's been generated.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to track back to one of those numbers that you put out on the table, one of those big numbers, $1.3 billion with a B, potential underfunding of the BEP. Just a simple calculation applied to that number, 8% of that, which is we represent 8% of the students in the state. That's $104 million. Now, obviously, our fiscal capacity, that number would get pushed down, but maybe, so what if it's 80, or 90, or something below 104 million? It's still a heck of a lot of money that that they are not, the state is not committing to us. The other thing is, I view this as this conversation is inextricably linked to the teacher pay issue that we heard about tonight from the teacher who spoke so passionately. I think we've got to do more locally in terms of getting our comp schedules in line with peer districts. And I know Ms. Story is working hard, as are a lot of other people, on kind of getting us, figuring out exactly where we need to be based on where we are now. But I think we've got to use every tool at our disposal to demand that the state do more on teacher salary. We met, saying this for the benefit of the viewing audience and people in the room, we met with attorneys earlier this afternoon who, without revealing confidences of that conversation, one of the things they did show us was a fiscal note from a legislative bill that showed that if the state had set the instructional salary component in the BEP and made it align with the statewide average teacher pay, that alone would generate between 500 and 600 million in additional funds. So again, I think I think those two conversations, teacher pay and BEP, go hand in hand.
Thank you, Robert. This is very informative.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Tearing up.
Okay, next we will hear from Ms. Deborah Story, Chief Human Resources Officer, and she's going to share updated numbers through August 2017. Her presentation is going to focus on our teacher attrition, particularly information on why some of our teachers are leaving based upon the exit interview data that we had. The number of people who've exited, as well as the number of people who have completed those interviews, and efforts to retain teachers and other employees. The areas on which we're focused on is a system to retain teachers. So she's also going to highlight recruitment and hiring trends and what we're doing to better represent our evolving student population and the challenges that we face as a system. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Story.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Basically, you went over my outline, so great, I could kind of move through that one. There were some unanswered questions from my last presentation because the school year had not begun and we didn't have a full year where we would count retention. So I'm going to be answering those questions today in addition to some other questions that were posed during our last presentation. And Sharon Patiller is here too as well. Okay, moving to the exit interviews. Now that we have an entire school year that we can compare to last year's, our numbers are still smaller than than we would like. A target would be 35% of our exiting employees completing an exit survey. Last year, meaning 15, we had 14% to complete. This past year, 16%. And as you can see, we're pretty consistent with people leaving for personal reasons. About 56% of the individuals who left last school year left for personal reasons. On this slide, and for this particular question, our respondents could respond to more than one, could give more than one reason. And so when you look at that, the next two columns, school culture and dissatisfaction with administration. We know that's a challenge for MMPS in some of our schools, and that was one of the motivations for us developing the new organizational development unit, the Department of Human Resources, led by Mo Carasso. He and his team are focusing on leadership development, and part of that is the fact that when people leave, they typically leave their managers. So if we can develop our leaders to be better leaders and have them improve this climate and culture of their schools and departments, that may play a role in us retaining more of our employees. Another question on the exit survey is, what are your next steps, the departing employee? And again, it's pretty clear that many of them left our school district to go to another Tennessee school district. We're the biggest in the area, and therefore we are a big target for poaching. And I believe that's what was happening, because we lost teachers at the beginning of the school year. Within the first 3 weeks, teachers were resigning to take other jobs. And I suspect that they were probably going to the highest bidder. Okay. So what are we going to do about this? And, we have to, well, first, let me just say, we're going to be adding support employees to, well, we're starting this month, adding support employees to this exit interview process so we can get a better gauge on them as well. We're going to be communicating to all of our exit employees the importance of completing the exit survey. And we're going to be impressing upon our managers and HR partners to encourage our employees to participate. We're going to emphasize the fact that this is confidential information. We couldn't tell you who these individuals are who completed the survey. And I think a lot of times employees are afraid to be honest for fear of retribution if they want to come back. And they don't want to be, shooting themselves in the foot by saying something negative, and they're therefore prohibiting their ability to come back to the district. We're going to provide them multiple ways to complete the survey versus just on the computer, and then using this data to make improvements. That is a must. I think when you do that, people will be more willing and interested in giving you feedback. This was an update of our retention overall. Basically, we're on par with the prior year. We didn't see the growth that we'd have liked to have, so we're going to have to really work hard this year to increase our retention. However, we are tracking close to the national average at about 80, which is 84%. This is our actual teacher turnover. It's still pretty consistent that we're losing the bulk of our teachers during the first, second, and third year. But I want to point out that this past school year, we lost fewer first-year teachers. So I believe the new Teacher Academy is working. We lost fewer second-year teachers, but we saw an uptick for the third year. Now, we're not sure what that's all about. It could be the time that people decide that they're going to start a family, or they may have taught for 2 years and decided, this is not what I want to do. But we're encouraged that we're seeing, at least this past year, a decrease in the number of first-year teachers who are leaving us. This is the retention by classification. We looked at our teachers and librarians, our support staff, other certificated staff, which would be the deans, coaches, and then administration. And as you can see, we did see a decrease in administration turnover, unfortunately, an increase for other certificated, and a decrease for support, and about the same for teachers. This is our turnover by tier. We saw a bit of an increase for elementary, also for all three tiers. We saw a little bit of an uptick in those who are leaving the district, and that ties back to our exit interview data. On this slide, the last time I provided this to you, I was able to provide you the level of effectiveness graph, but we don't have that information yet. We'll have that probably in November. And then we can tell you how well we're retaining our level 4 and 5 teachers. But if we look at all teachers, again, we're pretty level with just slightly above last the 15 school year, and we increased 2 percentage points for new teachers, which as I mentioned, and then when we get the LOE data, we can provide that to you as well. And let me just mention that these numbers of teachers leaving also include retirees, but to a smaller degree. Just to give you an example, for 2015-16, 68 teachers retired, but 42 of them came back on a 120-day contract. This past year, we had 66 to retire, and 55 came back on a 120-day contract. Okay. This is our hiring, and when you look at this graph, it looks like we waited until the last minute to hire people. That's not the case. That's when they started to work. We made early offers as early as February of this year. They were early agreements, but that doesn't get counted until they actually come to work. And this school year, we're going to be starting that even earlier. This fall, we'll be looking to make early agreements to those seniors who'll be graduating in May. Okay. These are the vacancies that we have open as of this afternoon. 33 high school positions, 37 middle school, and 33 elementary school. Again, our major challenges are math, exceptional ed, the sciences, and the foreign languages. And it's not just our challenge, it's a nationwide shortage. And so here's some of the challenges that we're having from a human resources standpoint to do the best job possible in recruiting. We do have some technological challenges with our applicant tracking system, AppleTrack. It's clunky. It is not reliable. The data we get out of there is not reliable data. Sometimes candidates get lost in the system, so we're kind of working at a handicap. In our staffing ratio, we are understaffed for a district this size in the area of recruiting. But let me just say, I want to say thank you to allowing us to hire 2 new recruiters. That was very helpful. We actually have 3 more recruiters than we had this time last year because we repurposed a position that was just focused on one thing, and we saw that that wasn't a full-time job and had that person also do recruiting. So I am thankful for that, but we still are shorthanded because those individuals, not only are they having to hire individuals, but they also work them through the hiring process, which is very lengthy, and therefore they don't necessarily have the time that we would like for them to have to do outreach. But we're going to do a better job than we did last year. Okay, and then the late resignations, as I mentioned, we have people resigning 2 weeks after school starts or right before school starts. But then some of our successes, again, we say thank you for those additional staff, but Sharon has realigned the talent strategy area. Our HR partners now are assigned by quadrant. So we have one HR partner for each quadrant, and we have an HR partner for the central office. And those individuals become strategic partners with the leaders of the schools and of the departments. They'll get to know the staff better. They'll just be more familiar with how those areas operate, and therefore can be more helpful to hiring managers and the leaders. We are continuing to improve the HR processes. We have a ways to go, but we get a lot of positive feedback about things being better, so we're happy about that. And then we had the 2 school closings this year, and we think those went pretty smooth. That was Kirkpatrick and Neely's Bend. And a lot of other things. We're not, I don't think Sharon is either. Neither of us are in the those who keep track of all the things that we do. We just get it done. Instead of trying to keep track of everything, it has to be done, we just do it. Okay, so I'm sure we left some really important things off here, but that's because we're not keeping track. You're probably wondering, okay, to go back to your question about the licensure, you went through the TELUS program,
Is that right?
Yeah, but before that, I was certified just through the transitional license.
Oh, okay. So it's our understanding that has gone away, but if you are embedded teacher, like if you are a resident, you can get a practitioner's license.
So I'm sorry to divert from you, but this is something that I think the board should be, this is something that the board should be discussing, that we should be advocating to whoever it is, the State Department of Education or the State Board of Education, to bring back that license, because clearly it's impacted us in a very negative way. So I really don't know where to start. I mean, like I said, Dr. Severe has been helping me kind of figure out where that license comes from or where it was pulled from, to see how, so do you know maybe where we can start our advocacy?
Well, yes, I do. I mean, as a school board, we could do it as well, but I know Alignment Nashville, we're working on with them, and Sharon, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Alignment Nashville is putting together some legislation to go forth about licensing.
Okay, while she's coming up, so whose policy was it? Was it a Department of Ed decision, or was it a state board decision?
Now, that I'm not sure. I would think it would be the Department of Education, because the state board, they also asked us what we need from them so they could lobby with the Department of Education. Okay.
I received confirmation from Martin Nash, who is our partner with the Department of Education, and he texted me this probably about maybe 10 minutes ago. He said that no, they no longer do the transitional licenses, only the practitioner license. He said that the alternative pathway is job embedded clinical practice, where the candidate is the teacher of record versus having the transitional license. So
No, I'm sorry, that was rude.
No, and as far as the additional work that we're doing with Alignment Nashville, what Laura with the mayor's office is doing is they're trying to share our voice. And one of the things that we found is that we do have reciprocity. It may not be at the level that we want, but where we find the issue is that a teacher could be a wonderful teacher in New York or Texas or wherever, and if they took their praxis more than 10 years ago, they would not be eligible for a practitioner's license until they retook the praxis. So to some, there is the cost, just the red tape that they have to go through. So what they're trying to do is put together some language for us to see if they could address that. So it wouldn't necessarily be a transitional license, but it would allow us to get more qualified candidates from another state and have truer reciprocity.
And it's usually people who have relocated here. They have an out-of-state license, but David just shared with me that it was the department, the DOE department policy that was approved by the State Board of Education that made that change in the transitional license.
Okay, then I do have this question. So you spoke to the residency, and we don't have a lot of residency programs
yet,
okay? But I'm trying to understand the difference between the practitioner's license and the transitional license, because for the transitional license, you are also the teacher of record. Is that what they're trying to emphasize now?
You were the teacher of record with the transitional license, but they did away with the transitional license, and the practitioner license is going to be for someone that had the highest level licensure in a reciprocal state, or for someone that's currently embedded in an enrolled in a program for that particular licensure. So if you were going to get your degree and be a science teacher for 7 through 12 or whatever the case may be, that would be the program, and you would have to be on track.
Okay.
Is that a teacher of record?
And they would be the teacher of record if they're in that embedded program, as long as they're on track. And that's only for 3 years.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I understand. So say a student comes out of undergrad with a biology degree. They decide to get certified in biology 9 through 12. they begin a program of study where they're taking the courses, they take the praxis, they can apply for a transitional license, a practitioner's license.
That is correct.
Okay.
And they would be the teacher of record.
So last year around January, when we had a bunch of teachers lose their license, are they now able to get to move to this practitioner's license? Because I'm under the impression that many of those teachers don't realize they can still get on that license.
I think they either got a permit to tide them over. A lot of them, they were expired licenses.
Expired license and the practitioner license, they only give you the 3 years to complete that program. So
I'm thinking specifically about two teachers at Stratford. One was in her second, that was her second year on the license, and one was in the middle of her third year in the license, and both of their licenses were stripped.
well, if they were not on track, and that's something that their EPP would have to acknowledge, and they're the ones that say whether or not they're doing what they need to do, and if they're not, they pretty much revoke that practitioner license.
Their EPP?
Their education provider.
Oh, so whatever college or university that they're at, okay.
That's correct.
So for a teacher that may have been on their second license, I could reach out to them and say, well, if you have one more year in your license and you're on track, you need to go to your university and ask them to advocate on your behalf. Okay.
And speaking of EPP, that is something that we're exploring as a district, is with Davis' help, and how can we certify our own teachers. And this would be a great way for us to look at our parapros, because many of them can't afford to go back to college to get the necessary education. But if we can give them the training internally, and then we'll be able to increase our internal pipeline of teachers. Okay. Okay. Go to the next slide. Okay, so the things that we're doing to retain our teachers, keeping the New Teacher Academy going, making it better every year. We're doing the quarterly check-ins this year, and as you recall, each of our new teachers has been assigned a veteran teacher mentor. And so these are some of our recruiting strategy highlights. I mentioned already that we have restructured the HR team, and we're recruiting. We're also developing, with the help of communications, a recruiting website from MNPS. We're using social media. We're also looking at the positions we have posted versus the positions that are budgeted to make sure we have accurate data out there, creating events for qualified candidates to meet principals. And I mentioned this earlier. We did some speed interviewing, and we'll keep those going this year as well. And then lastly, on the other page, we're leveraging our community partners. And as far as the A team, we're in the process of finalizing the A team's focus that's in sync with the MNPS strategic initiatives or framework. Okay, and these are some of the things we're doing from a diversity standpoint, because, as you know, our teacher population and student population are kind of flipped. We have 70% of our teachers are white, 70% of our students are students of color. So we want to increase our teacher population as those opportunities arise to add more teachers of color. We have a designated recruiter. She's Puerto Rican, has been in the United States most of her life, speaks English, but she's also bilingual and very well connected in the Hispanic community here in Nashville. So we have a dedicated diversity recruiter. We're also creating material in various languages for recruiting. And we also have taken advantage of free advertisement on a Hispanic radio station, and we're marketing MNPS through recognized minority media outlets like the Tennessee Tribune. They're going to be highlighting the leadership of MNPS, and we're also going to be interviewing some of our teachers on their website and also YouTube. Okay. Also, we are targeting, as I just mentioned, school demographic student populations, and we're also engaging with organizations that I don't believe we've engaged with before as it relates to recruiting. Futuro, a college program, the Latin Professionals Association of America, the YMCA, Latino Achiever, Black Achievers, the Minority Chambers, HBCUs, other ethnic organizations, 100 Black Men, and fraternities and sororities. And we'll be tackling those as well. And then finally, this just gives you a picture of our pipeline and some of the programs and initiatives that we have in place to develop and also recruit new teachers. And that is my presentation. Okay.
Questions? Well, I have a question. Just what can the board be doing since curriculum and achievement, we decided, will be our focus? What can we be doing to help you all? What can we do to advocate for more teachers or retaining teachers?
I think it would be helpful during the next budget season to consider more resources for HR. I think that would be great. We will be getting a new applicant tracking system in 2019. Metro government is embarking upon a new ERP, but that's 2 years that we're kind of handicapped in working with a system that's not very effective. But we're looking at other ways to supplement that through other avenues. So that's what would be helpful, and always, if you know of good teachers, just send them our way. Okay.
But one of the big things we talked about today was the need to dramatically expand, our partnerships. How do we get our paraeducators and others in our programs at the regional universities here to dramatically, we've got to grow our own, because every year we're falling 100 short, 200 short, and I think we really need to begin funding, in terms of a budgeting standpoint, pathways for our employees and others, second career, and people to be able to come into the district and work with us. And we've got to flesh out that process sooner, much quicker, and resource towards it, because we're in the best position when we're developing our own from the talent pool that we have here. I mean, we have lots of substitutes who are, second career individuals that we can. I mean, that is the challenge. I think the state gives us the ability to be able to develop a program and take them through a program and authorize them. We've got to move on that sooner than later as a short-term strategy.
I couldn't agree with you more, Dr. Joseph, because the more you invest in your employees, the greater likelihood they're going to stay with you. And the more we can do that, especially our parapros, if we can invest in their careers, we'll probably have them for the rest of their careers. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's speak to that. So do we need to be looking at developing a policy of some sort that will help you to begin to build this pipeline, that will support that kind of professional development and growth for those paraprofessionals? Do we need to be sending letters or having conversations with area colleges and universities? Do we need to be tweeting them or sending them messages on Facebook, something? What?
A couple things. I mean, I think we have to prioritize it in the budget, one. Okay. Two, I think we do need to look at, I think there's some opportunities for lobbying in terms of the legislature. For example, I mean, one of the big challenges we have is the poaching at the beginning of the year, where the school year starts and then all of a sudden we lose 20, 30, 40 teachers because they go to other counties that are maybe paying more, or those challenges. And I think in other states there are laws that prohibit teachers from leaving a district without a penalty. I think that's something we could work towards employing, because it's not only a large urban district issue. Rural districts get poached as well. I was just at the TOS meeting yesterday, and I was sitting with some smaller rural districts, and they were lamenting about how many teachers are leaving them now to go to bigger districts because they couldn't find a math teacher, and the math teacher in a neighboring district was paid more, and they're having the same challenges we're having. So I think we could build a coalition to try to get some synergy around changing some of those policies to make it more equitable, because it hurts poorer and poorer districts more than anyone else. So the urban districts and the rural districts are hurt more. But I think that's something we could be lobbying for as we look towards that.
And more BEP funds.
Yes.
So, I always get challenged when we hone in on something and don't pull back and look at the bigger picture. So I know there have been myriads of conversations around the whole recruiting and retention thing. And so I think what would be a good presentation later, because it's going to take some time, is to sort of step back and say, from recruiting to developing to retaining to then shuffling. So what are the opportunities? So what does the opportunity for a teacher look like? Because the challenge that I would have in saying you have to commit, that commitment is usually in exchange for an investment. So we need to clearly define and quantify the investment that we put into a new teacher or into any of our teachers, so that that reciprocity of retention and an expectation of staying is clear. So, and we talked about this, I don't know, with somebody, that we realized several years ago in my department at HCA that we had to grow our own. And so it was a $30,000, multiple tens of thousands of dollars of investment, plus paying them while I'm training them, right? And they're not even, I'm not getting maximum benefit for that. So at the door conversation was, for this investment in developing of you to do this job and keep making this salary, I need you here committed for 3 years. So you cannot leave my department for 3 years. And that's what they sign off on. So I think if we can just step back and look at the big picture of recruiting, development, retention, so that they understand the investment on the front end, so that then the lobbying for, I need this commitment of 3 years, makes better sense. And we don't feel like we're holding them hostage, right?
Great point. And
so we're already doing those things. We just need to quantify them and tell the bigger story.
Great point.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, Debbie, Deborah.
Thank you.
Yes. I really appreciate the retention initiatives that you have specified. A lot of those really are exceptional, and I think that's going to help us. So kudos there. And the fact that we've got 84% of our teachers, we are retaining 84% of them, I think also speaks highly, and hopefully that will continue to increase. I wonder how, I've got several questions, but how does that 84% retention compare in Nashville to other large urban districts?
Well, we're at 83, and the national average is 84.
Okay. And I would, on page 3, the exit interviews, it looks like, this is only about 270 teachers here for 2016.
Combined. Yeah, about 110 one year and 127 the next. We really have to get that number up.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the trend that is for school culture and dissatisfaction with administration. That trend, I think, is probably going the wrong way, and I'm sure administration will be talking about how we can change that trend. And I'd love to see in the future a graph about demonstrating when we hire teachers compared to when we get the verbal agreement. When they start doesn't really help as much. So, but if we know when those agreements are made, so that we can, we know that the best teachers are hired by March. So that would be helpful. And on page 12, with the, it's interesting that the vacancies are pretty evenly distributed between elementary, middle, and high. Are these vacancies among a large group of schools? Or are they more concentrated in specific clusters or quadrants?
The high schools, I think the larger numbers of vacancies are in the high schools, and the highest number of any one school is 8. 8, 6, 5, 7. But other than that, it's going to be onesie, twosies throughout the district.
And my last question is, you said you have 2 new recruiters this year. How many do you need?
At least 2 more. And a couple of support people, because right now they're having to do everything. And you could just see it in people's eyes that they're totally stressed out. And if they're too stressed, then we'll start losing some really good people. So Sharon and I have to show them we love them all the time, okay? And give a lot of kudos.
Hopefully we can make this a priority in our budget.
Ms. Pierce?
Just real quickly, what does the process entail, or like what is your timeline that you think you might be on to get to a point where you can grow your own and license the teachers? Like, what does that process look like?
Well, that's something we just had the first meeting about it this week, or no, last week. And so we'll probably be looking to perhaps get things started next school year, but it's going to require perhaps an office of 3 people, a director, perhaps maybe a former teacher, to kind of direct that area, and maybe a couple of support people. But it's going to require some money. Okay. Yeah.
We could see that in a budget request.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Really briefly, I just wanted to agree with Ms. Buggs that the certification issue is having a major impact on us, and I wonder if it's something that we could find a way to engage in some sort of informing the state of the impact that it's having on us, since it's so difficult to find teachers, and I think everyone's aware of that. And also, if I'm not mistaken, the same issue is affecting some central office leaders. We're losing really good people who have been doing the jobs for a long time very effectively. And so at the very least, it seems like that's something we could talk about, maybe having a grandfather clause if you've got somebody that's been in the position for a while, or and then the other issue, I guess, other than just sort of having some sort of conversation or letter to the state about the impact, it's just suggestions, but also that might be something we would consider looking at with when the legislative session comes back in the spring.
I agree. And just FYI, the Department of Education is looking at several of our positions to determine whether or not they actually require a license. They're just taking a while to get back with us on that.
Thanks. Anybody else?
Last thing for me, thank you for all of this, really good data. How many high schools do we have with an opening? Because I'm looking at these numbers, and like Jill said, they're evenly distributed, and then I had to think about it. We have way more elementary schools, and then, we gradually decrease in the number of schools at each tier. How many high schools do we have that have an opening?
I have to look and see
that's
that.
okay.
But what we find is that people want to teach in elementary. Those are a little easier to fill.
The babies, yeah. But then to the board, I would just say, I think we need to use our power of writing. I mean, we do Facebook posts and op-eds. For anything else, this is something that we can maybe not control, but we can at least advocate for and contribute to. So if anybody wants to jump on an op-ed with me, I'm on fire right now. So curriculum and achievement is all I want to hear anything about. So taking all names.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Ms.
all.
Doring. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Before we go to the last one, why don't we just take a 5-minute breather break and then come back for the last report? Is that okay with everybody? Okay, let's do that. Huh? Okay.
Is it possible to move it?
To move it?
It's so important.
there's equity and access that's provided across the system through programs and different opportunities. And a part of that work is what Dr. Turner is going to present. Dr. Turner is now the head of the School Choice Office, which includes the Academy of Nashville as well as advanced academics. And as a part of her job, as she's starting to move the ball around that work, is also to start to look at our programming specifically in those areas. And so she'll talk to you about the work that's going to happen with multiple measures to kind of drive that through.
Dr. Narcisse, and thank you, everybody, for staying at such a late hour to hear about this presentation. The problem I'm sharing tonight is using one single score to determine if a student needs encore services. I propose that we move from this single cut score to looking at multiple factors, multiple measures to meet the needs of students. In the spring of 2017, I was invited to Rosebank to their science family night, and I'd set up a table, information table, and these 3 students came running over to me and they said, Dr. Turner, this is Sam, and Sam is the smartest kid in 4th grade, and we want him to be in Encore. And after talking with Sam's mother that night, I learned that he had been tested for Encore since he was in kindergarten. And every year, he fell just a couple of points short of our cut score. So I'm here tonight on behalf of Sam, on behalf of the principals and teachers who have students like Sam and they see their unmet needs. And I'm here for those parents who have students like Sam at home. I want to remind you that the Encore program is the MNPS Gifted and Talented program, and we serve students for 1 to 3 hours a week. And thanks to our district's commitment, we have an advanced academics resource teacher in every elementary school and every middle school, at least part-time. The Encore teacher is not there just to work with Encore students, but the ART is also there to increase the rigor for the entire school. So you might see the ART pushing into a class and teaching an advanced lesson, or working with those students who have high abilities, who haven't quite qualified for Encore services. We call that program the Young Scholars of Nashville program, providing PD for the entire faculty so that they can learn more about strategies with advanced students and the characteristics of gifted and talented students. So you might also be asking, so what's so amazing about Encore? Why are kids and parents so anxious to get into our program? Gifted researcher, widely recognized, Dr. Karen Rogers, states that students sometimes know 40 to 50% of the material before it's even presented. And so Encore is a time for these students to get with like peers and to really engage in some highly challenging, complex, highly engaging tasks. And often our students say it's their favorite time of the week. So what's the difference between a gifted student and a talented student? A gifted student has been assessed by a school psychologist and has met the criteria for the state of Tennessee. The state of Tennessee is just one of a few states in our nation that still recognizes giftedness as a disability. So it is a special education process. Talented students are those students who have been tested by the Encore department using one of the assessments that we have selected, and students have to receive a qualifying score on that test to get into the program. So the process that I'm talking about tonight only relates to those talented students, since the gifted designation is a state guideline. So how have we been identifying students so far? We have 2 testing periods, one in the spring and one in the fall. In a few weeks, we'll start testing our students in 4th through 6th grade, and we rely on usually our 10 Ready data for that information to determine who we should test. And then in the spring, we'll ask teachers, give us the names of students that you would like for us to test for our program. This will be the first year that we are doing a universal screener where we're going to test every second grader. So that will give us some good baseline data about all our kids who are in the district in second grade. And then after each testing period, we determine a cut score. And the students that make that score are invited into our program. But we know from lots of research that identification measures should be inclusive, should be culturally responsive, should cast a wide net, should begin early so that we have a whole picture of student abilities. So would we overlook Justice Sonia Sotomayor? She's a Hispanic female. She was diagnosed with diabetes at age 8. Her father was an alcoholic, died when she was 9. She was raised by a single mother in poverty. She says when she talks about her own educational experience that she had gaps in her knowledge and she felt very limited by her social class. Do you think that one score on a cognitive abilities test would really capture the gifts and talents of this justice? And what about Jim Carrey, famous comedian, undiagnosed dyslexic? He grew up in poverty. In fact, he was so poor that he had to work 8-hour shifts as a custodian in high school after night to support his family while living in a Volkswagen camper. Could one score on a cognitive abilities test really capture his creative talent? What other information do we have in our district that we need to use multiple measures to identify our students? We have about 86,000 students in our district, but we're only serving 3,000 students in Encore. And our high school data for AP and IB shows that we don't have any race with more than 7% of students taking advantage of these advanced academic courses. So perhaps we aren't laying the foundation, the pipeline for these students to get into these advanced courses to feel comfortable and confident and then be successful in them in their later years. Stakeholders have told us time and time again that they do not favor a one-cut score. And the 2017 Encore Task Force, made up of teachers, Encore teachers, parents, the Encore Parent Advisory Board members, local, university, and college gifted specialists, and central office staff all favor multiple measures. When we look at our data in districts, we see that we have large pockets of Encore students in some areas, and in some quadrants, we don't have that many Encore students. The students in Nashville in every quadrant of our district deserve to have their talents recognized and to participate in the Encore program. And the National Association of Gifted Children says the best way to ensure that no gifted student is overlooked is to use multiple measures. We'd also be hard-pressed to find other districts or states not using multiple measures. So if we take a look at it, just go over to the right side of this slide where it says all students. This is OCR data from 2013-14, and we see that these comparable cities of Austin and Denver and Charlotte, when we look at the number of students that they're identifying for their program, it shows that we have not identified enough students here in Nashville. So we have Austin with 7%, Charlotte with 5%, and Denver with 13%, and Nashville is at 4%. Here is some more data about our district, and basically this information tells us that our district is 70% Black and Hispanic, but the Encore program is 70% white. The equity number is derived from a formula from Dr. Donna Ford, who is a researcher and professor at Vanderbilt University. She works with a number of districts across the nation to help them balance their numbers and give them guidelines and goals to balance their numbers demographically. And the numbers that she provided for us these are a minimum baseline goal. So for example, our Hispanic students make up 23% of our district, but only 6% of Encore, and our equity goal would be 18%, just to begin to be in balance. And our high school data shows us, the top part shows our AP scores. This shows every 9 through 12 student. And when we look at this, we have less than 4% of Black students, less than 6% of white students, and less than 2% of Hispanic students even participating in the AP program, and the IB numbers are even lower. So what are some examples of multiple measures? One would be student observations. These are usually conducted by the gifted specialists in a school. They go into the school and they look at what the students are learning, their creative projects, and the ideas that they're exploring and creating within their classes. A portfolio assessment is a compilation of work. So it shows a student has either achieved mastery or they're progressing towards mastery, and it can also show a number of creative products. And then rating scales allow teachers to have a voice in this process so that they begin to rate in on student characteristics and traits and things that they're seeing in their classroom to highlight students for services. And then we have parents and teachers who also can make nominations and help us identify students in need. And then we have tons of assessment data already here in our district. We have, of course, our Encore testing, but we have NWEA, we have MAP, we have TCAP data, 10Ready data. We could use all of these things. Our EL students have WIDA and Access data, all of those things to help identify students who need Encore services. So the process, what will it look like? First, we have a trained review team. We would have a small team from each school, at least 3 people, one including the gifted specialists at that school, and they would need to be trained on the process of multiple measures and also on the characteristics of gifted and talented students and cultural diversity. And then we have to consider all students so that we're not picking and choosing who to look at, but to look at all students in every grade level. We have to get data, feedback from all of the stakeholders, so that would be every teacher that a child has, the guidance counselor, or people who interact with that child. Looking at a body of evidence, we can make some final recommendations. So maybe the child needs to be in Encore. Maybe the child needs to be in Encore, but also needs to be tested for giftedness. Maybe the child doesn't need Encore services, but may need enrichment or a talent development program. Or maybe we don't have enough information about this child right now, and we can come back and revisit the issue at another time. Or maybe the child does not need services at this time. So if we use multiple measures, there are a couple of things that we can expect to happen. First of all, in this process, whether a student gets Encore services or not, we have better information to educate our children. And it also provides more information for teachers to differentiate in the classroom. And then we have more students and a diverse group of students who will be challenged through Encore, and again, more students and a diverse set of students who would be ready for challenges in advanced coursework in middle school and high school. And then finally, parents don't have to wait around for the Encore testing periods. Schools would use the data that they have, and students would get service faster. So the next steps include developing a steering committee to make sure this is all organized and laid out. We need to look at a finalized list of multiple measures that we want to use within our system, and then review the team at each school needs to be trained, and there needs to be a lot of training, especially with the teacher rating scales, to make sure we're using those efficiently, and on the review team process. And then, of course, we would have to look at a budget. As far as the timeline, so we could begin looking at developing a steering committee in January, and then we would train teams in next year in August through October. Those teams would then go and train staff in their schools. And then we could begin some parent outreach because parents need to know about multiple measures if this is what we move to. And then finally, the November, December time period of 2018, we would have another universal screener for second graders. We would also look at the assessment data that we already have, and then multiple measures could begin. And then in 2019, in January, a new group of Encore students who were selected using multiple measures. Any questions? Yes.
The steering committee, I'm going to assume that you would have a mixture of stakeholders, so parents, teachers at each tier, administrators. They would help develop what the implementation would look like, or they would literally develop every part of this?
Yeah, so we would need to talk about every aspect of it, from review team selection at each school, what the training is going to look like, the pieces of the training, forms being developed, will there be an appeals process? Everything would have to be laid out.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Pearson?
So the Encore is just K-8, correct?
Pre-K through 8th grade.
Pre-K
Yes.
through 8th. I was just trying to look, so when you did the graph that showed that we're at 4% of all students, were you including the advanced classes in high school in that number, or was that just Encore?
Oh, are you talking about, let me go back.
The graph that had all the cities and we're at 4%? That one? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was your question again?
Is that just representative of Encore, or is that gifted and talented, including kids in high school taking AP or IB classes?
So this is just our gifted and talented program, pre-K through 8th grade. And you can see it's showing what percentage of our total population we've identified.
Okay, so we have 3,000 students in Encore,
Yes,
right? Okay.
currently.
So just wanted to make sure that was being taken from just our middle school, our pre-K through 8 population, and not 86,000. Just for baseline, because I'm hoping we have a goal out there that says we hope that we're going to get closer to Denver's number.
Yes.
Closer to 10%. But what is that? Because it's going to be needed to be based off the enrollment of pre-K through 8. And then I did just have a note that I did not know, coming from the IB pathway in the Hillsborough cluster from Julia Green on up. I had been so involved and aware, but not until I was on the board did I know that there are some pretty hefty fees to be in IB, in the IBDP. And even I know we are now paying the fees to take the test, but we are not paying the fees to be in the program. Is that correct? So, I just think those are barriers. Those are real barriers that we need to talk about. I had a parent, in my district contact me that first year on the board and said it was like between junior and senior year, I want to say it was close to $1,000.
Yes. So yes, we are paying for their completion test, and there are some additional fees associated with it. And I know that, AP and IB can be very pricey. So it is a start for our district, and hopefully in the future, maybe we can look at some other resources. But yes, you're correct.
Okay, so we're correct in that we're paying for the test fees, but we are not paying the kind of enrollment fee. Is that right?
Yeah. Can you clarify what the enrollment fees are?
I know they're staggered. There's a part your junior year and then a part your senior year.
Right. Of course, I don't have with me that information, but there are some fees that students pay along the way, and our district has committed to that completion exam fee.
As an action for the board, we'll get the specific, what are the other fees associated? I can put that in an update so we can see what it is explicitly.
Any other comments or questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Yes, hello.
How are you?
Great.
So I just go back to the first time that you stood at that podium in your role taking over Encore, and I asked a question of bias, right?
So we've got the universal screener, and it's supposed to be blind, but do we have bias in the selection process? And so I just want to thank the team for the effort to recognize that one of the ways to eliminate the bias is to understand and recognize that our students of color don't always test well, and that there are other signs and other indicators of talented students and talent, academic talent within our student population. The other thing I want to say that just keeps sticking out at me is, and I don't know if it resonates with anybody else, is the use of the phrase, our students who need encore services, not qualify for, but need them. And so we've spent eons of years talking about students on the other end of that academic spectrum and needing support services and needing special, education services, and that now we recognize that there are students, and I think Ms. Spearing used to point this out all the time, that we had students that were maxing out, right? That we weren't seeing growth. When we were focused on AYP, we weren't seeing growth for our most talented students because there was no place else for them to go. And so recognizing the need for services for the students on the other end of that academic spectrum, I think is going to serve us well. And it serves us well from a retention perspective, because I think one of the reasons why we lose our students is because we're not nurturing. We're not nurturing our students when they come out of elementary. So not for today, but I think the thing we need to prepare ourselves for is that when we start to put this in place, we've created now a pipeline that has to have some place to go, right? So we start to identify early more students who need encore services. We have to then continue to feed them in middle school, and then we've got to find a place for them to land on the high school end. Because right now, they believe that goal is MLK and Hume Fogg, and there are a limited number of seats there. So I look forward to seeing how we answer the second call of need for these students, because we have to find a place for them to continue to be nurtured in this space once they leave elementary school, that K through 8 space especially, and enter into our high schools. But thank you very much, all of you, for staying, and thank you very much for this information.
Thank you.
And I think the board, asked the question, so how can you be helpful as we're looking at policy? I think a gifted and talented policy would be appropriate in helping to guide some of our work that we're looking towards, because right now I don't believe in what we're currently looking at. That was not there, but there is an opportunity to help direct us in terms of the commitment to equity, access, and so forth, that it's locked in and
This
clear.
is basically taking this plan, once you guys get it solidified, and say that it will be something that we make available, and then we have to fund it, because it's in the policy.
Right.
So just so I'm clear, so you're looking to us to help develop that policy after all of this comes out?
Yeah,
Potentially, we can start to.
We'll need I think there's an opportunity for gifted and talented policy to be developed, is what we're saying here. Because in the current step, it's not there. And there are lots of great, Denver has an excellent policy. There are lots of great policy out there, but to lay that out.
Thank you, Dr. Turner. So where are we on the agenda? We have a board chair, but we're not going to have a board chair report tonight.
Be there no further business?
So we'll go to announcements, and we'll start with Ms. Buggs.
Nothing.
Okay. Ms. Spears?
I just want to thank Gerald Grubb, who spoke earlier, and I'm good at his vocabulary spelling city. He was a Julia Green favorite, and it was fun to see him tonight, so thanks for coming.
I'd just like to congratulate our new board chair and vice chair. Thanks.
Thank you.
Renewed.
Tomorrow morning, bright and early, we will have participate in a breakfast for Bookham. That's tomorrow at the 13th. Our employees' insurance trust meeting will be next Wednesday, the 20th at 1 o'clock. And on the 25th, the work of the Academies of Nashville will be highlighted at the Music City Center.
Dr. Warren?
I just wanted my colleagues to take a look at the report from the Council of Great City Schools on the benefits of our dues. This is per Nashville. So the annual report has already been issued.
Dr. Gentry?
On September 19th, there'll be a community meeting at the Northwest YMCA in the John Wright Room at 6:00 p.m. It'll be facilitated by Representative Brenda Gilmore, and we'll be giving an update on schools in North Nashville and Bordeaux area.
Be there no further.
I get my turn. So I don't know, we don't know what school it came from, but we have a stack of beautifully decorated postcards and their thank you notes for letting our students out on the Eclipse Day. I will read just one to you. It says, "Dear Sirs," looking around the room, "thank you for letting us watch the solar eclipse. Also, thanks because I needed a break from school. It was fun seeing the solar eclipse. Thanks for everything you do to help us learn." So they're all that cute. So anyway, and so that concludes my announcements. I'll leave them here so we can look at them at our pleasure.
I wanted to thank my colleagues also for the fruit edibles.
On your feet, Joe.
You ain't got some edibles.
Okay. You.
Hey, go, Christian. Christian, you're missing your line.
Be there no further business. This meeting is adjourned.
Indeed, yes.
That was the
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.